So I did meet a local legend, and I was going to ask you guys if you had ever heard of him. I was lucky enough while in the Charm City, the city that reads, the greatest city on the planet. If you,
I'm sorry, did you just do a weird flex brag that the city can read?
Yeah, it's its thing.
Really?
Yeah, like the city of brotherly love is Philadelphia. Charm City is the city that reads. It's a fact.
That's the weirdest flex ever.
Sometimes people say it's the city that bleeds as well.
It's definitely that.
But we did meet a celebrity, a big deal. I had the opportunity to actually get some video footage with him. Have you guys heard of the gentleman Real T?
No.
Sounds familiar. Like, I feel like I heard that name, but I have no idea who that is.
So I'm not going to play all of this for you guys because I got a video going up on Patreon about it. But this guy, he's a local talent.
A local rapper.
Yeah.
Is it the Bullet guy?
So I've never seen any of his work aside from what I got to see in person. He actually gave me gave me a live performance, which was pretty sweet.
Wait, was he outside selling water?
No.
Ice Cold Water guy is a different guy.
Did you see the Ice Cold Water guy?
No.
I didn't either. I saw him Brilliant Man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, buddy. So,
Is that good?
are we ready?
Is that good? Yeah, let's go.
That's what I'm all about.
killing it.
Freestyle rap to make your day complete.
Get 'em.
Home kind of keeping it real. Just trying to earn 5 6 bucks just to get me a meal. Don't beg and ask for handout. God bless you with love. That's what it's about. And before I depart, I'm in front of the two cool guys I met all day with love in your heart. No doubt.
No doubt. Nice job. What's your rap name,
My
man?
name is Real T, man.
Real T.
Reality Elevate Coalition Recruit.
Where can they follow you?
Baltimore, man.
Okay. Just follow him in Baltimore.
See, follow in his life means something very different than it does to us. Why are you following me?
So we had that, and I'm not getting ahead of Nerd Weeks or anything. I just wanted to make sure I shouted out Real T, holding it down for Baltimore City. With that being said, we have a full table today. We have the proper cast, and we have the proper gentleman, the King of England himself, His Majesty.
Hello.
So, Cody, you have a guest privilege.
Oh.
Go ahead and talk about how your week or month or year has been. Briefly, though.
year?
Briefly, though. It's
Well,
been a
you
while
haven't
since you've been on.
since- Yeah.
Well, I'll just start from this week. It's easier. Yeah, I flew over here, no troubles, didn't get stuck for 24 hours.
And boy, are your arms tired, am I right?
What's that? Oh, yeah, flew over here.
Yeah, it's like the worst U.S. stand-up. I just flew in from Cleveland, and boy, are my arms tired.
No, I flew in with no issues this time, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I watched 3.5 films on the plane.
Tell us about these films.
3.5.
I watched Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Wasn't great.
So no, which,
Great review.
I want to set the mood here, Cody. First of all, how long of a flight is it? You fly to New
7.
York and then you fly here. Is that how it works?
No, it was just straight through
was
this
straight,
time. No,
okay.
last time that's why I got the issue, because I
Right.
did the transfer.
Yeah, because New York airports are trash.
And
So-
there was a crash.
That's not important. So how many hours is it from?
It's about, it said 8, but I think it took 7.5.
So okay,
And on the
so
way back it's 7.
right, all right. Wow,
Wind.
It's the wind. It's a global warming.
It gets
pushing
caught up in my
everything away.
wings and then I fly back quicker.
Yeah,
So let's make sure we get this right. What order did you watch these films?
Well, I watched Dark Phoenix first, which I
Okay.
completely forgot I watched it. So,
When he was telling me the movies he watched, he
It's
mentioned that one 3 hours later. He's like, oh, yeah.
So what did you think about that? Have you guys seen that?
I
yet?
haven't yet, no.
I've seen it.
it was okay. And then there was that bit, which I only realised because I also watched, as a spoiler, I watched Men in Black after that, the new one.
Oh,
And both of them films from this year have decided to make a point of being like women instead of like, because they're X-Men, Men in Black, and both of them make that joke about why is it not women? They just men are holding on to it. I was like, that's odd.
So how was Thor Ragnarok 2? Was it? I mean, that's Men in
It is.
Black is
Yes,
literally
same, alternate
Yeah.
universe.
yeah.
It was.
Wasn't great.
I mean, I'm not even a massive fan of Men in Black. Anyway.
Have you seen all the other Men in Black movies?
I think so. When I was a kid, I haven't seen them for years.
Okay.
But
I've never seen one.
You've not seen them all,
Never seen one.
Bobby. There's a ride.
I know.
There's a ride.
I know. I think I've ridden the ride.
which is actually probably better than
I think I've ridden the ride.
any of the movies.
For real.
I don't know.
yeah.
So Dark Phoenix. I mean, good, bad, otherwise.
I mean, if it was on, I'd probably watch it. But
Okay.
it wasn't.
That's right.
Yeah.
If it's on TNT,
Yeah.
right?
It's similar to like you said about Apocalypses.
Here we go. I have to. This is my new.
Okay.
My new
Baseline.
baseline here.
Have you seen Aquaman?
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah,
better?
but you thought that was trash.
Hang on. No. No, but I'm asking you. Was it better or worse than Aquaman?
I enjoyed watching Aquaman more.
Okay. Fair. So that you watched that, and you said the...
After that, I watched...
was it Hellboy you said you watched?
Yeah,
Hellboy. So that was
The
the
new
third
one?
That was the
Yeah,
third
the new one.
feature.
You watch a lot of new movies. Shit.
Yeah, they're all ones on the
That's
plane.
when I
hadn't
watch
seen.
new movies too. When I fly to Japan, it's like fucking 5 movies and
Yeah.
catch up for the
And
year.
y'all,
that's crazy.
my airplanes have
Yeah.
a pickle bucket and a lunchbox with old sandwiches in it. I'm flying on the wrong airline.
On Spirit, they just have a prayer book.
prayer book.
That's what we fly usually. So,
And a blindfold.
But it's yeah.
No, my one has it's got like Endgame and all sorts on. So I was just watching things I haven't seen. So I knew half of them weren't going to be the best. But
No, I kid. Most of the planes I fly on, and like one way there, they'll have the headrest with the monitors, and the way home they don't. So I always load my tablet up with stuff. And what'd you think about Hellboy?
it was, I think, because I watched the old Hellboys quite a lot when I was a kid because they came out when I was quite young, and especially the first one, and I really liked them. And it was I think because it was so different, I was just like, it wasn't what I was expecting, like the humor and stuff and the gore, but it was cool. I mean,
I like the second one. I still like the second
Yeah,
one.
I did too.
like
The
the
Golden
second
Army is a great movie.
Yeah.
It did not do well, and it wasn't
No.
critically received.
I don't
but
understand
like
why
it.
it didn't do well. It was better than the first one.
I think it
Yeah.
might have been. I think maybe if you look at when it came out compared to what else was out, I don't know,
maybe.
but I'm just kind of
I think
guessing.
it's what
And
it
people
is.
may have had their fill from the first one. Like people would have been like, "I'm good."
Yeah, it came out pretty quick, didn't it? Like it was 2 years, maybe.
Maybe, yeah,
It was
that
a
sounds
pretty
about right.
standard,
though.
It's the second one with the guy with like the little trolley for his back legs near the end.
Yes.
It lets him into the underground where the
Yes.
Golden Army.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Like all the elves, yeah, I know, the little trolley.
The crazy monsters. Well, that is very accurate. It's a lot more accurate to the
Yeah.
the books. Like the opening scene in Mexico with the whole wrestling bit. Of course, I'm like, having
I like those
That
elves
was quite
better than
cool.
the Lord of the Rings elves.
I think they're cooler.
Yeah.
I think they're cooler. I don't know if they're as efficient.
No. It's not about, no, but they're definitely cooler and more badass.
Yeah.
It's like a solo flex. Simple and efficient, like the body itself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't act like you don't remember that.
Yeah, no, I never tried it though.
Trash. It's fucking
Yeah.
horrible. I never could get any.
I remember like you'd often go into like people's houses as a kid, and like their moms would have like a NordicTrack,
Yes.
but it'd have like laundry and shit hanging from
Yes.
it.
I knew people who had a solo flex, and like I remember I lived at this. Remember the Bowflex?
Yes.
Oh,
they're,
yeah.
they're still around.
Right. So I lived in an apartment complex, and I was friends. My buddy that actually my roommate at the time, his mom was the apartment manager. Like, oh yeah, we're putting a gym in. I'm like, oh yeah, what do you get? We get a treadmill. And we got this thing called. It wasn't a Bowflex, but it was a similar product.
Oh man, they got the
I'm like,
Aeroflex.
what is? I put all the I put all the tension on it and pushed. I'm like, what? This it doesn't do anything. I don't know. I just never.
Do you think that was inspiration for the Game of Thrones chair?
That's exactly what it was. Well, actually, the actual inspiration was somebody had laundry all over their Bowflex, and then they put their sword collection on it too. So, like, dude.
Oh god.
All right, sorry, Cody.
Yeah, continue.
Yes, I watched that, and then I watched half of Toy Story 4 again just because I was like falling asleep. So I was like,
I don't think I've seen 4.
I
I've seen 3.
I saw 3 also. A lot of Return of the Jedi references in 3.
I haven't seen 4. I have it at home to watch. My kids went and saw it with my parents this summer. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, the fourth one. I've
Yeah, it's
I've
good.
seen the first 3, innumerable.
No, I'd say I like it. It's good, but I didn't watch all of it. I fell asleep halfway through, and then I woke up and I was put on. What did I say I watched? Oh yeah, Men in Black,
Okay.
and it was, I don't know, pretty much what I expected. Nothing
Yeah.
great, but it's a bit over it. I don't know. It was really. I don't know because I can't really remember the old ones, but I remember the old ones being quite like I like them more.
I like
Like the strange
I like
aliens and
Rambler.
stuff, and the guy with the skin. Yeah.
I think the dynamic is important to that. I mean, I've never seen it, so I might be talking out of my ass. But the dynamic of like the old seasoned veteran with the new kind of wild and wacky and
Well,
charming.
charming. Yes, man is ready to save the world.
They have Liam Neeson in it, who's kind of acts as that. He was
Really?
like, yeah, but he was like meant to be like the seasoned partner. It starts with him and
Thor.
Thor. Yeah, Thor.
4.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, he can't do th.
No, it's great effort. Yeah, it starts with them and then it sort of goes off, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
It's not you,
It's
unlike it.
fine.
no, I don't think I
Well,
would.
the third one was some sort of time travel caper because Josh Brolin played the young Tommy Lee
Yes.
Jones. I don't remember much about. Was Will Smith in that? Was that the last one Will Smith was?
think so.
I guess he had to be. Yeah,
Can't
I
remember.
don't. I saw it at some point, but it obviously has had a
Yeah, I
great
don't
impact on
remember
my life.
Which one's the one with the guy, the alien with the skin, where he's like flapping around and wants
It's
sugar?
one of the first two. They
think
kind
it's
of
the
they
second
kind of
one.
blend together, to be honest, for
Yeah,
me at
okay.
least.
I like the cartoon too.
Oh
I
man, I
never saw
forgot
it.
there was a cartoon.
Was it good?
I like it as a cartoon.
Mhm.
You know, it's like Ghostbusters. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
episode
yeah.
to episode.
The one
like,
with the monkey.
Shit after school.
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville was in the second one.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, he was.
He was a fucking parasite thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
was.
weird flex, bringing it full circle. I did meet him.
Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah, in Baltimore.
When? Just now?
No, years
Oh.
ago at the not at the Auto Bar, Fletcher's in Fells Point. And I was hosting an event upstairs, and I came downstairs to talk to the manager.
Skullfist.
I had hair back. I had hair back then, so I could do
Pre-Skullface.
it. And yeah, pre-Skullface. And then he was down there playing pool. And I was like, Johnny Knoxville? And he like turned around. He's like, what's up, man? And I was like, hey, I was like, thanks for taking one for the team for the entertainment. And he was like, oh, he's like, I appreciate it. I was like, what are you doing in fucking Baltimore? And he was like, I'm here shooting a film. I'm a stuntman. And this is like when Jackass was like just kind of getting its legs. And I was like, did the Jackass shit jump that off? And he was like, no. He's like, most of us are stuntmen, and we're friends, and we did Jackass from that. Like Jackass came later.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And then like I smoked a cigarette with him outside and went on about my business.
Fucking
That's
awesome.
where you
Yeah.
found out that he was actually sticking the pool cue up his ass. It was like a same for the new film. He was
Yeah.
like, "Do you mind holding this?"
He was trying to get the whole thing up there and then go get an X-ray.
The fat end.
Oh boy. Wow.
But yeah, was it? I watched. Yeah, I got here. Bobby picked me up. Had ChickfilA waiting for me,
Yeah, I did.
like a gentleman.
Yeah.
You know, I have to mention this. Cody is a huge Chick-fil-A fan. I think everybody who listens to any of our Cool Table Network shows knows that, that Cody is a huge Chick-fil-A fan. And I found out last night, and I guess Cody did recently as well, they opened a Chick-fil-A in the UK.
Oh yeah, I told him about that. How they
Yeah,
closed
and
it.
then they basically 6 months and it's done because of they have some stances on,
Traditional
religion and
family
traditional family values, so to
versus-
speak.
I saw a
versus
thing where they were funding a bill over in some other overseas country where you can kill gay people. So I was like, oh,
That's
so,
crazy.
So that's.
I'd have to
you
look
know,
into
there's
that, though. I'd
Yeah,
have to look
I have to
into-
look into
yeah,
that. I'm saying
yeah,
I
Right,
saw a
right,
thing,
right,
but I'm
right,
not
Is that
sure.
on comicbook.com.
right.
No.
But the chicken.
But the thing is,
I
is
know,
like,
but the chicken, man.
like I don't agree with their views either. But like, make some pro-gay chicken that's as good, and I will eat it. I promise. I just haven't had it yet.
Yeah, I mean, like the stance of a company is different than things they're funding.
And
you know what I mean? Like if you don't like something, it's like fine, whatever. But
Correct.
you're funding something. That's a whole different.
Correct.
That's
I do.
funding with my money.
Correct. I do. I do agree. I do agree with you there.
So I have to look into that shit, which is fucking difficult now because there's so many shit.
But
You
that's
can't
a,
fucking keep up with everything. God damn it.
and I mean, like, how many companies at the end of the day do
7 p.m.
Got him.
Got him.
back
When the rubber meets the road.
back shit or move their money a certain way that we just don't know about, that we would or wouldn't agree with? Like,
Yeah.
like where, like, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't look into it and that we shouldn't vote with our wallet and all those sorts of things, but where is that line? And are we giving whatever we're giving to Chick-fil-A in terms of attention, are we giving that to everything else?
Right.
I mean, it's something to keep in mind with Chick-fil-A. I know it's their corporate policy, but those are all franchises except for a pocket of them in Atlanta. So
Yeah.
that, what sucks is there's some person who paid Lord knows what to get the rights to do that in the UK.
Well, me.
Hey, you're lost, bro. No, but that person has put out all this money, and I'm sure they're losing their ass on this.
Well, and like,
And that stinks for them. But I mean, I guess you kind of read what you're signing.
They know-
so like we
yeah.
all have devices at this table where chips and elements of it are mined in fucking Africa by children and then are put together by other children probably in Asia.
Where they want to jump off buildings and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, but we're fine with that, and we'll use that to search Chick-fil-A's politics. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there is
Yeah,
there
that's
is
what
a
I'm saying. So
level
you
of
can't keep up with everything.
There's a level of hypocrisy, I feel like, to how we take moral standings within corporate business. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't take moral standings. I think that's probably the right thing to do. But if we're gonna, what's good for the goose has got to be good for the gander.
Yeah, I agree. But it's just easier to like not eat a chicken sandwich versus not having a cell phone.
Yeah,
Dude, I don't
that's
know.
true. Well,
And I gotta try that Popeye's chicken sandwich, because if that shit is better than Chick-fil-A's,
I mean, we haven't heard anything about it since like the hype, so
yeah.
it might have just been the hype.
well, no, because it's gone.
Oh, they never brought it back.
No, they're bringing
okay.
it back.
They're gonna try. They're loading the magazines a little deeper. They bought the 50-round mag instead of the. Yeah. It's the Popeye Street Sweeper chicken sandwich. Lead free since. Yeah, that's like I'm gonna use my iPhone 11 Plus to take a picture of my conflict-free diamond.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, right,
I mean, like
yeah.
like that's that's the issue there. But it is always funny to me, like, and I'm sure I've done it too. I can't think of the circumstance off the top of my head. And to be fair, mine tend to be more personal. Like, nope, these people fucked me on this. So
that's easy for me.
Yeah.
Me. You're fucking done.
Yeah, but like,
How good your shit is.
Just how we choose that hill to die on. It's almost like the like the one voter complex or whatever, like the 1 point voter or whatever
like,
it is.
As long as that issue.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah. So Cody, if you could stop bringing up political shit, man, we'd appreciate it. We try not to get into
Chicken, man.
How's
Yeah.
Brexit? How's Brexit going over there? Do you know?
What's that?
How's Brexit going over there?
I don't know.
He doesn't eat that. He doesn't like. He doesn't like the burn ends on the brisket.
Do you guys spell aluminum different? Because I watch a lot of YouTubers.
Aluminium.
Yeah,
How we say aluminium.
Does you spell it aluminum?
Aluminum. They spell the same.
They spelled the same.
Just
You just
spell it. It's just
add an I in there.
Aluminium.
Yeah, no, because ours is not spelled right.
No, it's aluminum. ALUMINUM.
Let's find out.
I don't know, but
But like you guys spell it with like an IUM at the end.
Dunno.
Or it sounds like an IUM.
I don't write it very often.
I was with some guys
Never
one
really
day,
paid
right,
attention.
hanging out, and
So to speak.
and I was bringing up that point of how we tend to be the only ones that pronounce it the way that we pronounce it, and then they were all like, they'd never heard that shit. They were all like, "What the fuck? That's crazy." So then we ended up going out, and this crazy guy came up to us, and he was like, "Hey, y'all know Tim?" And I was like, "You talking about Tim Aluminium?" And he was like, I can't remember his last name. That might be it. And like,
Chris is looking for us on his not child-free labor phone.
Yeah. So there are two spellings.
They are to spell. Okay, you guys spell it different. Okay,
It's-
then that's okay.
There's an
No, you
There's
guys
an
spell it
extra I. I mean,
Probably.
let's
we did some hunting.
Yeah. Well, after that, so we went. You picked me up. We got back, slept, Baltimore, hunting actually on the way. So that's pretty much next.
Yeah,
And we did well in the first hunt.
yeah.
What do you guys get? Do you get anything?
Just Black
That's
Series.
all he was looking for, Black Series stuff.
I need 3.
I meant to tell you. The easiest way to get those Black Series figures is just not to want to buy them.
Yeah, that's true.
You crack me up, dude. Are those hard to find over there? I mean, are they
Well, it's easy
expensive?
to just order online back home.
Yeah. Okay. You enjoy the thrill of the hunt. You don't get
I
much
do
of
when
that.
I'm here.
You don't get much of that there. Is there not a lot of hunting?
No, because for me to go anywhere where there's shops, they stock it. It's like London. I have to pay like
Oh, where the Eiffel Tower is.
the Eiffel Tower on top of that. Yeah.
Do they sell them at the Eiffel Tower?
Look,
Round
kids,
the
Big
tip.
Ben.
There's a secret door at the top.
Oh, is that different than the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah.
I gotta get my.
The Eiffel Tower's in Men in Black.
Is it
There's a little bit for you to look forward to.
nice?
The reason why I was asking about the Black Series, I'm trying to remember what my point is now, and I'm stalling. But he did get all but 3: the Mandalorian, the Jet Trooper, and Commander Fox. But that's just going to be hard to get. But what's interesting, almost everywhere was sold out. Like Walmart, 2 Walmarts sold out. Target had like 3 or something. It was like
They didn't have.
a first order trooper, and I mean, like
no new
everybody's
stuff,
stock was fucking gone. So
It's coming up.
I think so. I read an interesting article on the Jedi Temple Archives or
Yep, I'm familiar.
about how much dead stock Hasbro has right now because whole cases of Episode 7 Wave 1 figures are showing up at Ollie's right now.
Really?
Whole sealed cases. With Porcelain Ray, as I like to call her, the first one.
yeah, and Zuvio,
Yeah.
your boy.
Yeah. So, anybody wants to pull
What
them
happened to
Zuvios
them?
out.
What happened to all them Zuvios?
They're around.
I still laugh at this, like the guy who did like this like fake blog about the Zuvio figure, and he was like, everybody's bitching that we didn't get a Luke figure, but they did the research, and if you had limited screen time like Zuvio, the figures didn't sell. So they didn't make the Luke and then people were like, that's not why. It's because he's not in the movie. And it was just like a fucking troll thing. People got all bent out of
so
shape.
easy. People upset. Dumb shit.
And it's such a funny concept, like just because Luke is on there for just a second, like they didn't make the figure. So what else? And then we went to the con. What'd you think? I mean, we talked about that a bit already. Let's talk about Baltimore Comic Con a bit, just kind of open, because you didn't attend. You were working. Heavy anime influence this year, more so than previous years. For one.
I mean, that's just the trend. I'm not surprised. It's just a trend over the years. There's just more and more anime shit everywhere.
Yeah, it's like it's happening. It's definitely happening.
I've been saying that, Bobby.
Yeah, but there's still. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still plenty of.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's going away. I'm just saying
right.
like anime is part of the culture now.
Yeah, for sure. But the American pop culture stuff, like the DC, the Marvel, the Star Wars, and all that, it's all identical. Did you find that? Like there's like 6 identical booths.
Yeah, there was a lot of
like you got your Black Series, your wrestling, your like 3 3/4, your Marvel Legends, your DC collectibles.
Most of the toy vendors had literally
the same stock, like 6 different places.
A lot of old shit too.
Yeah, and a lot of NECA, more NECA than I've ever seen.
I mentioned that out loud to Brink that there was NECA everywhere
than I've ever seen, which I did find funny because I don't feel like I see as much of that in stores anymore. Like I mean I see it in Target, but I feel like they sell. Like I feel like they're moving units,
right?
So I found that to be kind of peculiar.
Hot toys and stuff.
There's like one place, like Beyond, pretty much
Beyond Comics.
and the same.
They have the big,
and they're carrying the quarter scale. Like that's pretty much the only place you could get it.
Biggest, nicest display.
I saw a lot of like the Diamond Direct statues, the PVC stuff.
But the thing is, are you selling to the audience though? Like, do people have a lot of money to go to Baltimore Comic Con to like spend big bucks? Or are they going to pick up
NECA figures? Yeah.
And I also found it interesting that I feel like most places had a ton of DC products, like statues, like the 10th scale to 6th scale, like everywhere. I mean, you couldn't move your head without seeing 10 different statues. But then I saw more comic book stands than ever not carrying DC comics. Like they were carrying Marvel exclusive comics, and I'm like, you guys got your fucking parties meddled up.
Yeah,
you need to be carrying the DC comics and the Marvel toys.
To sell, right?
Yeah. But maybe that is it. Maybe they're bringing what's not selling.
That's also true because it's all on discount, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't Marvel comics sell better than DC comics?
I don't know.
I think historically,
they have a bigger piece of the pie. Right?
I don't know. I would be interested to look up that information because like I feel like like if you look at like title characters like Batman and Superman and like they all have like multiple. I mean I know Spider-Man for instance has multiple books, but like they have. I mean I think Batman has like 4 or 5 different running books, and has forever.
So what you're saying is you'd like to know the numbers.
No, I'm giving up on the numbers. it's just making me
done with it.
He said
after fucking Unicron, you're done with it.
Yeah. The Unicron exhausted me.
I saw a lot of that My Hero stuff there.
Yes. Yeah, My Hero Academia is really everywhere.
It's great. I mean, it ties into comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah, all sorts of cosplay of that.
Superheroes with better.
Also, some weird shit in Artist Alley this year. Sketchy as fuck, dude. So I guess with the accessibility of digital media, right? I saw like I hate to judge, somebody's creations, but like there's artwork that I'm not a fan of. But I can look at it and I'm like, man, like this is this person's style, and they have mastered it. Like they know exactly what they're doing within the style. I don't care for it.
Like Starscream and Megatron making out?
No, not topics. But we can get to that too in a second. But like just like whether it be like more, sometimes it's more anime-ish or more sometimes not even anime-ish, sometimes just like cartoony,
like
Samurai Jack maybe or
Chibi
designs.
You know what I mean? Like no, not stuff like that. Stuff like it looks like it
like the more than meets the eye later on. It becomes more cartoony.
Yeah,
like
but I mean, almost like
the
fucking,
Lost Light is like not the same as,
but almost like Green Lantern cartoon, or something like. Or like
like Batman cartoons,
or something like that, where it's not my style, but it's everywhere, right? And I can appreciate it for what it is, And I know that they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it, so cool, But this year I saw stuff, and I'm not sure if you saw it, Chris, but like people would take like pictures of Margot Robbie, like just the picture off the internet, and then take their digital pen and write "ha ha ha."
Oh yeah.
and then sell prints of it. And it's like
printing out memes to sell.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is this? Like, is this bullshit? And all the people that are buying it thinking to themselves, like, man, it looks just like the picture. Like, they're fucking doing a bang up job. These folks.
I wonder why.
I talked to this one guy, and he was selling like a print, and he was like, yeah, this was a model. I took a picture of the model. NASA has free domain space pictures. I put the space picture on it, and I superimposed it. So at least that's a little bit of work, I guess. But what is that? You know, like, what is the objective there? It just seems very hacky to me. It seems very much like minimal effort, maximum pay.
It's like, it's just printing out stuff to sell. It's not. Let's not get into the discussion of what is art again. But I think the intention does matter.
I do too.
If they just want to sell shit, it's a different than
Right.
I mean, I can appreciate some people doing some mixed media stuff.
Absolutely.
And not everybody can draw.
Sure.
Like at a level, like I can't draw at the level you do. I mean, I could draw something and you can figure out what it is,
right?
But I can't. I don't have the skill set you do.
Well, like I think there's an element of craftiness that's to be appreciated,
and that's what I'm getting to. Is you print out a picture of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and it's the whatever you call it, like it's got the dots on it or whatever, and you've done that effect on it, and if you're using like a resin cast of that, and you're putting that on top of it and building some layers, but I didn't see what you're talking about. If somebody literally just printed out like a picture, or that was in Empire magazine, and just wrote "ha ha ha" on it,
well, I think
and they're selling it,
Google,
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah,
that's trash,
yeah. And I mean, sometimes it was like Cody pointed out, like sometimes you could tell the images that they took, they extrapolated, but they didn't extrapolate evenly. So like the proportions are all wrong. Like they stretched too far down or too far wide.
I'll tell you, I saw probably the most blatant use of anything like that. I was at a hot rod show a million years ago. Me and my dad were.
Film?
I mean, if you want me to flex hard, it was a Street Rod Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky. The equipment we made at the time we were selling there, and I was bored out of my gourd walking around, and they had all these hot rod shows, and of course this is a horrible sexist thing. They have a woman's world where they have crafts
kitchens
and shit where they sell, and somewhere in between the show and there's a little section of like people selling memorabilia from racing. This guy had this booth, and he had these pictures of like the one that caught my attention was he had a picture that had Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. like standing there talking. And he had written on there with a Sharpie, "I love you, son, Dale Earnhardt. I love you too, Dad, Dale Earnhardt Jr." And I think at this point, Dale Earnhardt was dead. So it's like, but obviously,
right?
Come on, man. You're not even trying.
This show that dumb to buy it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. There's so many people that have no clue.
And there's like I sat next to them, and like they do like
Dale Earnhardt?
No. Yeah, shotgun. I made it.
You don't want that ride, bro.
Terrible. It was like a canvas, and they take like at first I thought they were super hacky, right? Because I sat next to them one year when we were selling.
They were there this year.
And
the people that we're setting up next to
correct,
last year?
Correct. So like, but I thought they were like photocopying the comic books and then cutting them out and putting them. But they were actually using, like, they bought the comics and they were cutting out specific panels, and like there's an element there I can appreciate, especially juxtaposed next to people that are literally copying, pasting, and then writing "ha ha ha" or whatever the case may be. And not to take away, but just on the subject of Baltimore Comic Con, I almost got into a fight with this dude.
Of course.
So I was wound a little tight Friday and the whole weekend, but mainly Friday. I had a rough day, and then this was Sunday though, and this guy has his like LR, what is it? The fucking fancy cameras, DSLR, and he's standing next to this fucking print. And he's like taking, and the print like flips, like so, like like it could be Optimus as a truck, and you move, and then it's Optimus as a robot.
It's a lenticular.
There you go. It's a fucking
so many terms.
Yeah, man, lenticular.
So educated.
Lenticular as fuck.
Is that a long word for not many clothes?
Dude. So Cody and I were talking about this other thing that I'm going to get to next, but we're trying not to talk about it in kid-friendly language because there were some sensitive subjects in it. So we were like, it's just exotic and it's almost pornographic and just using bigger words. And she was like, "Are you using big words to describe little clothing?"
That's funny.
Yeah. But I was like, "Hey man, you gonna buy one?" And he was like, "I'm thinking about it." And I was like, "It's kind of rude, right?" And he was like, "What?" And I was like, it's kind of rude. You know, you're taking pictures of this guy's stuff. And he's like, why is it rude? And I'm like, because this guy fucking created this artwork. He's here trying to make a buck. And then here you are taking pictures of it so that you can print it off at home. And he was like, well, this is my first Comic Con. And I was like, okay, well then no worries. Let me, as a courtesy, let me tell you, like, this is kind of like a faux pas thing that you're doing. And he was like, well, you can say it a little bit more nicer. And I was like, what? And he was like, you can be more polite. And I was like, look, dude, don't tell me how to be, okay? And he was like, and then he went on about his business. But I was fucking wound up then as well. Yeah. So this other thing, there was a booth there that had their whole thing was homoerotic stories. Like, did you see that?
I must have missed that one.
Okay, so it was there, and there were all these.
I really didn't see it.
And it was like, and which it's one of these things where it's like sensitive to talk about because of the nature of it. I just want to make it crystal clear: the subject, no issue, but the fucking art that they had all over the place is, I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, like men with like white, you know, stuff coming out, they're like on their face and shit, like, you know, and it's like Sticky Comics or something, like it was like the name of the company. And it's like, look, man, like nothing personal towards what you're doing, but like, I got my fucking 6-year-old walking, like there's, this is a,
yeah, that needs to be like
there just needs to be a curb on that shit. Like
the con needs to put a curb on that.
Yeah, and I don't
If you
care.
want
I don't
families
care,
to come.
and I don't care if it's a hetero, bi, gay. That was not the issue. It was just that like it was called Sticky Comics, and there's like all these dudes like super suggestive, super like every one of them's naked. You know, like
I mean, to be fair, like
let me open an incognito tab.
No, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about let's talk about all the scantily clad female characters that are everywhere.
And if they were scantily clad men, it'd be no issue. They were naked, having sex with one another, or super suggestive of
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's not okay. That's
right.
Too far,
right.
Obviously,
right.
But like again, where do you draw the line, kind of thing? Like you
closed.
can't tell me those scantily clad women in drawn in fantasy bikini that's insuggestive, maybe like Lady Death,
maybe
you know,
maybe
or,
a nudity.
You know,
look, I'll tell you, I went to a booth and I bought some prints, and there was a lot of this guy he was very good at drawing the female form, some incredible artwork, but I had to take pause and it's like I won't hang this in my house because I have a young daughter, and then other young ladies come to my house quite often. So I mean, this guy had some incredible.
You're
stuff.
talking about the guy that had the Joker Harley wedding as well. Like,
yeah, same guy. So
he was great.
I bought a print from him. It's just a Joker face. It was really stunning piece. It like literally caught my eye. It was like the furthest thing he had.
But you're okay with those things?
Correct.
No.
Correct.
Hang on.
I am.
I don't need. There's a difference between sexually suggestive and barely clothed,
right.
in my opinion. And I didn't see what Bobby saw.
Yeah, I mean,
and
what
I
he's
just looked up
describing
Sticky
is
Comics.
definitely too far. I'm just discussing where the line is.
Yeah, so
don't Google Sticky Comics.
So there was another guy had a booth on the back wall, and he had like they were all like your kind of like favorite pop culture icons, and like painted in a homosexual light, you know, like hugging each other, or like almost like the sailor and the lady coming back from World War II or whatever, like stuff like that, with no clothes on, but like maybe little briefs or little bikini pants or whatever they're wearing. No issue on my part. Mm-hmm. Like I have nothing.
Okay, then the line is like it's suggestive versus like just showing shit.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy I'm talking about, he had a limited edition print he was selling there. It was the Welcome Home Sailor thing, but it was Harley and Poison Ivy. I almost said Harley.
Yeah.
Harvey.
And Harley had
just Harvey and Harvey.
It was. I think it was classic Harley too.
It was Harvey Dent and Harvey Bullock. That's what I want to see somebody draw.
God.
I think it was classic Harley too.
The stuff he had on, that couple had on their booth was kind of like, I don't know if they do it over here, but when I go to the comic conventions back home, you know, like is it
UK where you're from?
hentai, isn't it? That's the you know about that.
Yeah, hentai.
But you have to have that in a box.
Wait, why did you ask Joe?
I'm the
I know
only
he's
one who
into
knows.
it.
You should ask these motherfuckers.
Well, no, because he's into weird stuff and he's.
I'm into hentai. Oh, for sure, I'm into hentai.
But that stuff they put in whenever I've been to cons, it's in a box and it says adult.
Adult only, yes.
Yeah, so then and that's fine. That's because you can still sell it.
Or
there,
even when they have prints, like a print book, it would be like censored. It would be like sticky.
Yeah, I mean, like
tape over it.
I mean, even like I was looking. You know, there's every time I've been there, right along. Not the back wall, but I guess the wall where the bathrooms are in there, in the main the hall, the exhibitor hall. Yeah. They've got, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 tables of like original art, like the actual panels and shit. And I was just kind of flipping through to see what they had, and they had adult. So it was but it was in a fucking huge long box thing where it wasn't like it's just flapping in the wind.
And it's not like I was offended and irate and like I demand. You know what I mean? It wasn't that. It was just like what? It's like a lowbrow move to me. Like it was just like when you look around and there's like 30 children walking down this aisle. It's like, man, what are we doing here?
Well, it almost felt like it was meant to be shocking. Like
correct.
Like,
I think
trying to
for shocking sake almost. Like there's like this like like almost like Dude 69. I mean like it was intense. You know, like
well, when we walked past, I was holding Selena's hand. I was like trying to sort of.
I mean,
just so she didn't look as though.
Were these prints this guy was selling? I don't know how. I
no, he wasn't selling prints. I don't think he was selling
like
his comic.
Yeah.
So they were just promotional.
But they were like promotional
art.
banners.
They had big banners. Yeah,
but they were large. You know what I mean? Like, so to speak.
So I remember last year. I mean,
but even if they were straight, it wouldn't have made any difference. Like had nothing to do with the sexuality. It had to do with the content.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that.
And you think maybe they didn't get I guess censored because of homosexuality. They didn't.
I would say
people are shy away from telling them they can't do something.
So I put myself in Baltimore Comic Con shoes. Mm-hmm. I'm less comfortable telling him he's got to cover that stuff up than I am other stuff.
Right.
Other than dealing with 4 people like you that say, "Hey, why are my kids seeing?"
And
this?
I feel like most people like me just roll their eyes and keep going. You know, like
come on, sweetie, let's keep going.
It's
kind of
it's a squeaky wheel, I guess. And then I want to say there was other stuff, but go. I started yelling at this dude for.
You sound like a belligerent homeless person.
He cut me off. He wasn't paying attention. He was on his phone. And
in the car or in person?
In the car.
Okay, I was gonna say in person.
Like I mean, I got my kids in the car.
Yeah.
You know, and like,
Cody's in the car.
No, he wasn't. This was Friday. This was Friday. So I leaned on the horn for like probably 45 seconds. Like, and he was going the same way I was going apparently. So it was like making a left turn down the street to the stoplight. And then, of course, as it always fucking happens with people that cut you off, the light turned red at me and let him go on yellow.
Of course.
So I just hung my head out the window. I was like, get off your fucking phone. And then there's like fucking cops sitting there on the corner, and I'm like looking over them. I'm like, oh God. So I just put my hand up to them, like, I'm sorry, like whatever. And then Jane is like, what's going on? And I'm like, look, I'm working on me.
Yes. Perfect. Dude.
Fair.
But the problem I have is that fucking, I don't use the horn much, right? When I do, I mean it. But the horn does not convey what I mean because it's fucking not loud enough.
Right.
That aggravates me more when I have to use the horn and it's
Why don't you get
fuck you.
Why don't you get a custom horn?
I should.
Just says fuck
just
you.
A fucking It's just an air horn. Or some shit that like
let you know.
That shit ain't gonna draw no one's attention in the first place. You're supposed to be warning somebody.
My 45-second horn drew lots of attention. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. I think I was dealing with some bullshit and on the side and everything, and I was just like, yeah. But yeah, I was wound tight. What else, Cody? Anything else?
We'll say Baltimore. We've just been out this week and we just hunting, having no luck with that.
He visited me.
Visited Joe one evening. Saw his cats. Met Krista. Watched some videos on an old piece of, was it beef brisket?
Oh my God. Oh,
31 days.
Sous vide, like a 31-day piece of brisket. And it looks so good, but they said it smells like rotten garbage when they opened it.
That shit literally just turned my stomach.
And they like cut it open and was like falling apart. Oh,
It cooked in water.
yeah. It was just like in a sealed bag and like in warm water for 31 days.
It just sweated.
Not good. Not good. Not okay.
So that's what we were doing.
And we were watching how to make jiggly pancakes, so maybe Krista will try it.
Jiggly
He kept talking
pancake?
about
Dude, it's fucking great.
Is that
It's
like
like
the
souffle
clear
pancake.
stuff?
It's a
Souffle
Japanese
pancake.
thing. You wouldn't know about it.
Maybe we can invite some
Cody
other
knows it, but apparently there's one in London, but we
Yeah.
don't have one here.
jiggly pancakes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't know it was a thing. It was going out for Katie's birthday before I came
It
I
like,
have to
yeah.
look that up.
because it was Katie's birthday.
Is it
Saturday.
almost like a not cooked pancake? Is it like
No,
a
it's
easy
cooked.
egg?
It's cooked, but it's just a texture. I don't know.
and the egg on top, probably.
No, egg on the inside.
Yeah, like a donut, like egg-filled donut.
Fingered in his face.
I'm intrigued.
But yeah, I think now we're up to here basically. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yosef.
What am I? Oh, my realtor is emailing me, telling me that I need to do some paperwork. Somebody might be buying my house.
Oh.
Again.
Nice. Fingers crossed, man.
It's not the same
Fuck,
person.
I need to
is
get rid
it?
of it, huh?
Not
No,
the
no, it's not. The same
Hey, I'm
person.
back.
Been heavy into 40K as I've been. That's all. Like that's my main hobby for the past 2 years at least. But I've been getting a lot done. Like I've been more efficient. I got a lot of shit built. I got like 30 dudes built in like the last 3 weeks.
Nice.
And I'm actually almost done with building everything I have that I want to build. But the problem is the next wave just came out.
That's how they get you.
And it's like fucking 60 more dudes I want to get. So I haven't bought it yet because I'm like,
Whoa.
the more the merrier. But like, you know, like maybe I should just not buy them. Then I can just finish my shit. And not, but like, it's a thing. It's a meme, right? Like if you're a hobbyist of sorts, you always have a backlog of shit to do.
Yep.
Been not that again, another thing I've always been into is fitness, but like lately I've been going back to do more internet research because a lot of new studies has come out since I stopped reading about it like a few years back. So it's making me into making more gains.
Any mind blowing stuff? Like, oh, that makes sense. Like that's
No, it's actually like it's always things that are that breaks old rules. Like originally people were like back in the days like work out one body part a week, a day, and then eat 6 times a day. But now it's like no, you can eat all your calories in one sitting. It doesn't fucking matter, and you should work out everything at least 2 to 3 times a week.
oh wow.
And the most recent thing is volume. Like people are like, you don't overtrain yourself. But now it's like apparently just the more you work out, the more gains you'll make if you sleep and eat and
Right,
stuff.
right,
So
right.
like I've increased the intensity of our workouts.
And increase the egg count.
Okay, yeah, for the protein. Watched
You ever put eggs on the weights?
That's the trick.
just raw.
when you're definitely in control of this set, but like the next 5 pounds might be too much. You just put one egg.
Now the trick is you put an egg on the bridge of your nose,
balance.
and when you're all the way up, you flip your head and you just bite it,
And
eat
the
it,
shell.
eat the shell and all.
Seals like those. Right?
Yeah.
That's dolphins.
When you finish, you're like,
Hey, if dolphins had arms,
Yeah.
Gains. Dude, you even jack dolphins?
I've seen one.
Watched American Mary. I think it's an older movie. But like one of my friends suggested it.
American Mary.
Yeah, because we're talking about horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think this is a horror. It's more like suspense, it's intense. So it's this girl who's going to med school,
Mm-hmm.
and then circumstances happen to like she started doing surgeries on the side in the black market before she finished graduating.
Mm-hmm.
And they got into the like a body mod community and got into gangster stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so it was interesting.
Let's get into some
Like she
gangster
was
shit.
like at the beginning she was like she had to do a fucking, she just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and she had to remove a bullet, I think, or from somebody, but then it ends up she's like sewing people's lips together and yeah,
Good grief.
not as extreme as Tusk, but
I've never seen it.
we should all see it. I haven't seen it either.
I would watch it.
I know of it,
I would watch it for sure.
but Krista refuses to watch it.
Is it
so-
on Netflix?
No, I can get it.
I'll watch it. We can do a little podcast afterwards.
Tusk.
what's that?
It's like a human walrus.
Is a guy.
But didn't
Kevin Smith did it.
Yeah, Kevin Smith did it.
Yeah, so it's like this
It's gotta be good.
psychotic guy who
Or terrible.
who like kidnapped this other guy and then slowly surgically transform him into a walrus
What, with legs?
with no legs. Walrus have no
What,
legs.
you sewing them together?
Yes, I believe so. And
Yeah,
then,
sew the heels together.
and then like put little whiskers in his face.
Big
Do you want to
old-
watch? You want to watch while you're here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
We should get it. We should get it. Pinkerton, are you down?
I want Deluxe to watch it. I can't wait.
Deluxe gonna be here.
I know, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
Oh.
oh, hell no.
sounds about right.
This reminds me of science class.
You had to trick him into it.
I think I knew that
This
guy.
movie called Tusk is about walruses.
It's robot ones.
Oh no, that's too far. That's a lie. Dude, so I don't come across racist things in real life much. Like you see them online and stuff.
Right.
Like the last time I got called a racial slur a few years back. You guys
Correct.
know about it. This like I couldn't even react. So I work in one of my jobs is an old people gated community, not an old people home. It's like old people with money. And it's gated community. There's like 9,000 people in this community. So this guy in a wheelchair and military hat, like ex-military. I've never seen him before, but so my coworkers are all black.
Okay.
There. So, and the manager is black, who was there at the time. So I wasn't actually in charge because I was doing immunizations. The girl, the cashier, went to hand him change, and he said, "Nope, I don't take brown money."
Whoa.
And I was like, "What does it mean? Is the money dirty?" And like I was thinking, like,
Right.
Sometimes,
yeah.
Or sometimes, like people,
or there's sometimes I've seen money with blood on it. You know, like you like not like crazy, like somebody had their brain shot out all over, but like on the corner, maybe somebody had a cut finger or something, and it's like a little brown spot on the, like that's fucking gross.
yeah.
But that's not what he's talking about.
No. And I was like, what? He said, put the money on the counter, and I'll take it. And my name is Sergeant so and so, not Mister. And I was thinking to myself, motherfucker, when were you a sergeant last?
Yeah.
And
Sergeant,
like, and so
really?
she turned back to look, and I was like, well, no, if it was me, I would act different. But she looked at me, and I looked at the manager, and she was like, just go ahead. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that was I was like,
Flabbergasted.
I did not know what to fucking do or say.
Would you say you were befuddled?
Befuddled. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's
I don't
crazy.
take brown money.
I had that happen. Just flashbacks from working retail. I had
In Alabama, where you from?
I'll take
Alabama.
knockoff money.
yeah.
I'll take any kind of money. I don't
Yeah.
even care if a knockoff company wants to give me money. I will take the
And
money.
like, what's the difference? I guess you just want to like take the money from her hands.
Hey, I got
like,
some Confederate
It's not
hundreds.
even her money.
I have to be able to
right,
use it.
Like, and she handled it already. Like she touched the money. You're gonna.
So he was.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. So I ran into this actually. Now that I never really put it together. I had a black guy that wouldn't. He's like, no, just lay that money on the counter. I don't. Every time, like, okay. So I just knew, and I think he was like he didn't want to touch a white person. And I think it's probably he didn't want to touch. He's
Opposite
afraid,
of-
like
yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, here, let me hand you your change, sir. You accidentally touch hands or whatever.
He didn't.
or
yeah.
and just to be fair, not your situation because color was definitely mentioned.
Yeah.
Just play devil's advocate over here. It could be a thing of I just don't want to touch
And it could be. It could be.
another human.
I'm like that. When a hand change back, I put it in your hand. Like when I accidentally touch someone, I fucking hate it.
And
Like I'm a big fan of like when I haven't seen somebody in a while, like come up and five and hug and have that moment. But like I have friends of mine that like they're like hey, they make sure to wave to me
might
like
get like
before
a-
we get close. Like
get a
I'm
fist
not
bump out
with
of-
I'm not with the touching.
So
Well, you have some that go, oh, you're gonna hit him. I know you're like,
I did have I did see him interact with black coworkers, and it was never. I mean,
Oh,
it was never
okay,
an
well
issue.
then, yeah,
I did have a guy that would come in. He was batshit crazy, and I'd go to hand him his change. He's like, "Don't put that silver money on me." That's what he'd say.
Werewolf.
Yeah. So I just laid it on the counter. But he was also buying spray paint, and would come in later in that day with half his face painted.
Oh my god.
Like, hey man, what y'all got in here for $2? That's what he always said. Like,
oh,
Nuts.
spray paint.
Yeah, I've never experienced anything like
because
that.
he could have said that. Can you put the money on the counter or something? But like he said it with attitude. Like,
Right.
and the insisting me on calling sergeant shit like that just plays into your shitty personality.
yeah.
I do
He's
wonder.
a miserable old fuck.
Yeah.
I do wonder how much, like, now that you've brought that up, like, it raises the question to me. Like, I do wonder how much commerce has affected racism, sexism, whatever. You know what I mean? Because, like, in our modern era, like, you have to do business
Interact
with
with
everyone. Like, in order to be successful, you have to be, with the exception of ChickfilA, of course. You have to, yeah, no. But I mean, you have to be able to do business and do trade and whatever. Like, and with more black-owned businesses, woman-owned businesses, et cetera, CEOs that are of minorities or women that are CEOs or whatever, like you have to be able to have those business deals. I wonder how much that has affected the landscape, kind of sociologically.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to help.
I mean, obviously not with this gentleman.
It makes them have to interact with anyway.
Right.
Like, he had to interact with her.
Right.
But like, I don't see. I'm glad. I'm not.
What was he buying?
Drugs.
Yeah.
Like prescription. So like, I'm glad I wasn't in charge of it because usually I am. But like, because like, I would have told him to go away. I definitely wouldn't have finished the transaction.
Right.
I would have tried to not be ridiculous about it. But like, I don't know how corporate would handle that.
Right. I was just thinking the
That's the
same thing.
thing.
Yeah, if you were like, look, if our employees aren't good enough to serve you, then our pills aren't good enough for you to ingest.
Yeah.
Which I think is the morally right thing. But
And
I'm
there's
not
a
sure
difference between like, because it's not just merchandise, it's prescription. I'd be denying his prescription. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
So like, I'm fucking glad I didn't have to make the call.
do no harm.
Could you not have added something to the prescription? Like, here you go, sir. Enjoy that, Sergeant.
Yeah, because like, and then I didn't want
These
to.
pills taste
I
like
wouldn't.
Starburst.
And if I said Skittles. Skittles with M&Ms with the M's rubbed up with my spit, just lick all the M's off. Because like if I told it, and if I went ahead through the transaction, then I have to look at my coworker, like like how is she gonna see me?
Right.
But because my manager's black, they probably had an
Yeah,
understanding that me and her
took you
wouldn't
out of
have had-
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's convenient for you.
Yeah, it was extremely convenient. I'm always super thankful.
Yeah.
But like, I texted you guys, like, remind me to tell you that story.
Yeah, that's
nothing.
nuts.
And I decided, like, instead of texting, because I had to tell you in person.
Because I feel like money.
Brown money.
I feel like money supersedes everything.
I mean, he took the money
You know what I
back.
mean? Like, generally-
He didn't say keep it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But like, man,
He
like,
didn't say keep your dirty brown money. That'd be
dude,
different.
if the money is right, I'll take it out of your mouth with my mouth. If you want to roll it up and put it right here, and I'll like a shotgun, like a shotgun. I'll just take the,
let me take a note on that.
Dude, I mean, sometimes on Thursday nights I got fucking $27 in my bank account before Friday hits. Like I'm with the shits.
So, it's like me taking that pizza.
Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that.
Baby bird.
Yeah, little baby bird. I was like, here, have a bite. And my man went. Is that it for you?
Bottom lip quivers a little.
Oh, this is more Hong Kong shit, but who cares?
How is that going?
Hey, Cody, we miss you guys.
Is there any new?
It's bad.
Yeah,
it's
no,
bad.
but it's been
more and more
bad.
crazy shit. Like, and more you see how much influence China has on companies, like Blizzard. Blizzard, like the big fucking game company. Do you guys hear the banning?
Tell me.
So there was someone who spoke up about Hong Kong, who plays Hearthstone. It was one of their big products. So like I think they banned him and they took away his what's that sound?
The refrigerator over there.
Yeah, it's probably a beer bottle
Is your
inside the refrigerator.
refrigerator- Is your refrigerator running?
And took away the prize money. Like they won something. And then but there's a huge backlash on that, and I think they end up having to reinstate some shit or other. But it's just the fact that they did in the first place.
Right.
And that's a lot of shit. Like a lot of people are speaking up about Hong Kong, whether they know about what's going on or don't.
Well,
but like they all getting backlash. One
And
way,
there's the basketball
one end or the
shit.
other.
Yeah, so and I didn't read into it, a lot of it, but I know LeBron James apparently said some stuff supporting the Chinese government in this whole
Yeah.
thing.
And he's the one who, he's one of the people who's like, support the people who are being downtrodden or whatever. And he's like, motherfucker, do you not see what's going on?
Yeah.
Somebody, the Joe Budden podcast called him LaWonton James.
Wow.
Nice. And some like fucking.
But he came out and apologized. He's like, man, I didn't know. He said he made some statement. I don't remember what it was, but he said something like, I had no fucking clue.
You shouldn't
Like,
have said anything.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And that's, I think, a lot of celebrities and pro athletes get in trouble due to their ignorance of the subject, meaning that, like, if you don't know about what the fuck's going on, don't speak on it. Just say, I'll have to
You have to
talk to somebody about that.
You have to know the tool box that you're working with, and like I'm okay with talking about shit, how I feel about something, but like I'm never gonna debate facts with somebody if I don't know the fucking facts. Like it's just silly, like, and it's a waste of both of our times, because obviously I don't care enough to like look into the facts, so like you're wasting your time telling me the facts.
Do
And
you do the research in your reviews? Because you're always wrong.
no, but that's been a whole another thing recently. But
Yeah, it's like some mosque got like water cannoned with blue water. That wasn't protesting anything. They were just like waiting in line or some shit. And this is fucking water cannon truck just pulled by and just sprayed everybody.
it's crazy that
It's fucking crazy.
What's Blizzard got to do with it?
Blizzard is a game company.
Yeah.
They have a
World of Warcraft,
huge,
yeah.
they have
Yeah,
a
that's what I was
huge
gonna say.
money
And they're
invested in
British.
China.
They're a
okay.
British company too.
and it's Hasbro that makes it, right? Like World of Warcraft is distributed in some capacity.
Maybe
no.
toys?
I'm thinking Magic the Gathering. I'm thinking Magic the Gathering. I'm
see how
sorry.
you can make that mistake.
Yeah.
No, and like apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently movies in China has a different cut. Even American movies,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
add
that's often.
they add like footage. They add like up to like 10, 20 minutes of footage.
Yeah, and they'll film
To
shit.
just have some Asian people in it. I'm like, fucking put the Asian people here. What the fuck? Why
They'll-
don't you?
because I and I could be wrong, but I think that the Chinese are like, these aren't Chinese. That's Asian Massachusetts people. Like that's
Yeah, but I'm saying like if they're willing to add some Chinese people to show in China, why don't you just leave the fucking Chinese people in so I can see them over here?
Because honestly, I think it doesn't serve the story. Like they did a whole bunch of extra stuff for Age of Extinction with the Chinese to appease that market.
I mean, it was already taking place in China with all kinds of Chinese people.
Correct, but
more
they
Chinese.
did correct, and they didn't have that cut here. But like, yeah, I mean, that movie kind of plot withstanding, I don't know if it would have made any difference other than make the movie fucking 20 minutes longer, which it certainly did not need to be.
Yeah, I know that. Like in the Winter Soldier, when Cap pulls out his notebook. It's apparently in every market that's different.
Yeah, it's all
written,
different.
Because
like the American shit is like Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind or whatever, but like in other markets it's like
whatever.
Chinese writing,
like dragons.
It's in the show.
ninjas, Scarlett Johansson's in the movie.
Scarlett Johansson is mentioned in every one.
Kangaroos, if it's Australia. Check out those kangaroos.
I had a question about
Kangaroos.
Boomerangs.
about like Scarlett Johansson and something about that, but I can't remember what it was now. But I had something I wanted to run by you.
You didn't put a major review up yet, did you?
Patreon.
Okay,
Yeah.
Patreon only.
Yeah. But Jose did comment on it.
Oh, okay.
Worth every penny, I think is what he said.
I do look nothing like her.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't. It's very odd.
Yeah.
Very odd figure.
And another thing, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but because I do have some friends, some family in Hong Kong that I'm a Facebook associate with. I'm not close with them, but they post stuff because they're over there.
Right,
and
sure.
I do have American friends who are also from Hong Kong that we talk about this stuff about, and they're talking about how one of the new Pixar movies, like when you see like the map when they walk by, because China, there's a lot of animation done in China apparently,
Really?
or there's Chinese.
Oh, I was in Korea. I didn't know it was in China.
Yeah.
But they like there's often a world map on the wall, and like the borders are different of how China wants it. I'm like,
Interesting.
wow, like little things like that would never even fucking
Yeah.
notice.
It's interesting. That's interesting.
But that's my week.
Okay, my turn.
Christoph.
So let's see here. I did some reading. I did some watching. I actually did do some toy hunting. I don't really hunt for toys, but I go in, my shitty little Walmart in Mount Airy, and then there's a GameStop. I always just pop in there.
Right.
And I very rarely am looking for anything at retail, but I was looking for the X-Force Deathlock figure. I walked in there it was.
Yeah, I saw
No
that.
shit.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah. So I got that. They actually had that. I think it's a Havoc and Polaris 2-pack.
They have that?
They did. Do you need that?
Yeah, I have it pre-orders, but it'll probably save me a couple nuggets.
I'll stop by if I remember. I'll stop back by on the way and grab it for you. They had that in those white Deadpools or whatever. I kind of stuck it behind there. Who knows if it's still there?
Yeah, let me know.
It's not like there's a lot of room to hide stuff in there.
Right.
But I did find that it was like that's nice to actually find something. And then just now before we started, someone posted the link for the Commander Obi-Wan from Walgreens exclusive, so
Right.
it was easy enough to grab those, and they're stupid quick with shipping, if I remember correctly. Like
Yeah.
it'll be
Does
here
that-
like tomorrow.
Does that mean could you actually order me? Can I get one then? Because the UK, I just checked my
I-
sites and they're both sold out.
I literally asked you
Yeah, I know,
when
I
I
just-
was ordering.
Like,
them.
yeah, right
While
before
we
the
were
show,
sitting-
and he's like,
And
I'll
I showed,
go
no, I
get it.
showed you that thing and it said I just said I can't get it now.
"Oh, I don't know. You showed me some numbers with the weird symbol in front of it. I thought you was flexing
No.
on the price."
No, I was showing you that it's not available now.
Well, let me see, Cody, if we can go back in the Wayback Time Machine and find.
Sold out.
Yeah, probably.
It
Let's
gone.
see here.
It gone.
I didn't even know it came out in the UK. It was him that told me. So I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
because I had somebody tell me.
You guys can
Olivia.
order a lot of stuff. There was it Robot Kingdom. Is it?
That's the people's.
I don't use them, but
They've always.
Don't get me- don't get me
that's
fucking
the
started.
people's, man.
Don't get me
Forbidden
fucking
Planet.
started.
All right.
They know what they're doing.
Of course. big companies.
All right. So just we're doing this live, Cody. It's $25.98.
Cool.
What's that in pounds, sir?
About 22
pounds, sir.
21
It's like
pounds.
6
I don't
pounds.
know, but Cody needs to send me about about $5 more because it seems like that transfer rate is brutal.
I can just give you cash if you want.
You don't know me at
Yeah,
all.
Chris
No, I
hates
do. I
cash.
know you hate it.
Don't hand him the white money.
Should I give it the brick? Should I give it $25
A
the
pink
brick?
money, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's
so
how.
I'm
See, I do
ordering
know
it
you.
now.
I know you owe Brink money.
Yeah. I owe Brink. He's my cash cow. All right. I have to select which county I live in. I guess so they can tax me appropriately. Did you know that my city is in 4 counties?
What?
It's in 4. I could. Yeah. There's
You like your whole city's an intersection of multiple counties?
It's kind of like Laurel.
So it's
Laurel's
PG.
in Anne Arundel, PG, Howard, and Montgomery.
Really?
I think
didn't know that.
it's in Montgomery, but it's at least in those 3. It's at least in Anne Arundel,
So
PG. I think it's a part of it in
mine's
Montgomery.
Frederick, Howard, and Carroll where I live.
Yeah.
We're just Frederick here, right?
Yeah, this is all
Here,
Frederick
yeah.
here. Yeah.
I have a question.
All right, it's ordered. Hopefully
Has
it
anybody
comes
ever
soon.
fought a picture ticket, photograph ticket? Not to take a picture of your car if you are
Well,
speeding or whatever.
they take a picture of your tag and send it to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get about once
Do
twice
you
a week.
have you ever fought one? Because
No, I just don't pay them.
what you have to pay him
It depends on who it's from.
from City of Frederick.
Okay, if it's a city ticket, you have to pay it. But if it's from Highway Monitoring Service LLC,
No, it's like from whatever. I mean, I usually pay him because it's speeding, but this one like shows my car at a stoplight with my. You can see the brake light, and then the next picture is me making a right turn. The light's still red, but like the thing says I didn't stop at a red light. But you can make right turns.
Yeah,
on the red.
they're faulty on the right turn. So yeah, I would fight that.
But then I have to fucking take my time to go to court and shit. Are they gonna pay for my time?
no,
That's bullshit.
So I had my license suspended.
$75.
recently.
Yeah, I mean, I would fight it. Me,
But like, it takes me more than $75 to take off work if I had to work that day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
if
no,
it's
it
their
sucks.
fault, you know what I mean? Like, it should just be fair. Like, if you're wrong, then
I
like,
wonder
if I'm wrong, I have to pay you. If you're wrong, you gotta fucking pay me back.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
But that's not how the system works.
So those ones like, you're driving down 695 and they send you a ticket for you're going,
Yeah.
60 and a 45 when you're just really trying not to get run over. I mean, they send those to they try to send them to collections and stuff. I don't pay that. If it's from a city or county, I'll take care of it. But if it's just,
I've never gotten one that's not from the county.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
always
me neither.
Montgomery County. This is my first Frederick ticket. But yeah.
Because the way those like highway speeding ones work is it's a third party that does it. They're like, hey, we'll set these cameras up and we'll bill you, we'll bill them, and we'll do all that.
But when you
It's not. There's no points on your license or anything for it.
How many points can you have on your license? And do you get points for speeding?
I have no idea how it works here. No idea.
I don't know.
I've never gotten in enough trouble.
I got my license suspended. Actually, and I didn't realize it. I had
Same.
Montgomery County had suspended my license because I had a red light situation in front of that. Is it the Columbia Mall? Is that
That's
Montgomery
Howard.
County? Was it okay? Maybe it was Howard County then. Yeah, some county. And Kelly called and got it fixed. They're like, you just pay it, we'll reinstate it, and it's like $75 or whatever.
I had a
I had no idea.
when I first started driving. I was like 18. I got some huge ticket, and then I had something else after that. I guess I was on, and they suspended my license, but I didn't get a letter or anything that I remember. And like years later, like 5 or 6 years later, they're like, somebody was like, I think I was changing my insurance from Liberty to Geico, and they're like, okay, so it looks like your license was suspended, but that was back in such and such. I'm like, no shit, well, it didn't stop. It didn't put a hitch in my giddy up. I can tell you that.
What's the most expensive traffic ticket you got?
$600.
Whoa.
What the fuck were you doing?
I was going 155.
You didn't get your shit taken. That's crazy.
That was the one where I got. That was the one before I got suspended. That was like, but I had just started driving. Like I literally had just started driving, and I was like, why would anyone wait longer than they have to? Let's get there.
I definitely went 100 when I was in my teens, but like, I have. Like now thinking back, I'm like, I'm going 80 to 90. I'm like, that's fucking fast. Like, and thinking back, I used to I had a Chevy Cavalier, and that thing topped out at like 120, but it doesn't actually go past 110 because the engine would start fucking rumbling. But it was always on that when I was on the highway.
As you get older, you
And
just
I
start
didn't- I
getting
didn't
more
sweat.
sense. When I was a kid, I was just like,
I was like,
I'm weaving and bobbing, and You know, like I was.
But I was getting places though, much faster
Oh,
than now.
for sure.
What about you, Joe? What's the most expensive?
It's 200 something. It was reckless. But it's like a fucking just shit on me while I'm down kind of moment because I already totaled my car and then I got a fucking ticket on top of it. I mean, come on, man. I already fucked up my car, bro.
That's rough when you total your car and they give you a ticket.
Yeah. That should be punishment enough that my car's fucked.
Right.
Mine was it was a texting ticket actually in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Weird flex, right?
Yeah, Chattanooga.
And the cop, there's a motorcycle cop, pulled me over. He's like, "Hey, you know," he's like, "I get it. You're working." You know, I told him what I did for a living. He's like, "Yeah, my mom." It's like, "You know, my neighbor travels. He basically his car's his office. I get it, but you just can't be doing that." He said, "I could write you reckless endangerment. I'm just gonna write you a ticket. Just call the number on the back and you can pay it. It's like $75." I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Right.
So I called the number to pay it. They're like, "Oh, you pulled Judge so and so. He makes everybody come to court." And they had changed. They had changed my territory at that time too, so I didn't have to go there anymore, but I did.
Oh my god!
And after all said and done, this was a pretty general court. It was, you know, I was there for that. There was people with DUIs and driving with no licenses and stuff. He read me down more than anybody else in that room.
Because
he called me up there and told me literally read me down. It's like, "That's dangerous. You're going to kill somebody." And I'm like, that dude doesn't have a license and doesn't speak English. This kid over here is playing the game with his lawyer where you're going to show up and get an extension on your DUI case until the cop doesn't show up, so they'll throw it out. Okay, and it'd be like $225 after court costs and this, that, and the other.
Wow.
Like like for us, it's more or less okay. We can get the money. That's not the problem.
That's not the problem.
Just think
It's
about
just
somebody that's fucking working paycheck to paycheck. You know, making like minimum wage.
I'm working fucking paycheck to paycheck. $27, Joe. Sometimes less.
I thought you was going to say your speeding ticket was last week when GameStop told you that they'll keep Fox for 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay.
I'm en route.
Officer Paul, what are you doing? Black Series.
Yeah.
It's a Black Series emergency.
It just doesn't seem fair. I don't know. It's someone working minimum wage, working paycheck to paycheck is going to have to take a day off to go and pay this ticket or not be able to pay this fucking ticket. I don't know.
It seems like, you know, I like watching.
It's just a game of money. Like, because if you had a lot of money, say you make fucking $200,000 a year, like you can just speed all the fucking time and don't give a fuck, you know?
Yep.
So we watch that live PD a lot, and it's surprising how many people don't have a license, or I'm still paying off my license or whatever. So I'd imagine, it's a $600 ticket. Well, I can't pay you that today. What can I can pay you $100 a month for 6 months, and then at that point you can get your license back. But
you'll never get out of the hole. You will never get out.
You're not going to sit at home, so you go do a payday loan, and then it's. I could see how things could turn bad for any of us very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think we could all end up in a situation where a $500 ticket was. Oh, absolutely. Listen, in a heartbeat. I've said that many times. If when the rubber hits the road or whatever, the shit hits the fan. This shit is it's all gone.
Bobby's, you're gonna sell his.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
The shit's going.
Yeah, I'm selling all Bobby's.
Well, Chris sells the shit even when he's not on financial trouble.
Right. That's true. I like to have a certain amount of PayPal balance, but yeah, I'll come here, grab some of these $700 omnibus books, and I'm gone.
Who would never notice? It's fine.
That's right. Yeah, I could slowly be taken.
Yeah.
Nerd Week. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. I don't even know how we got on that subject. We were talking about finding toys. So Bobby had lent me the War Games. Is it War Games?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did I brought those here? Anyways, I read the first two. Very, very good stories. So I'm gonna grab those other two from you.
There's
today.
3, but
is there 3 more?
Yeah, because War Crimes is like the end, the conclusion.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't see
it's because a little
I
one.
didn't see that little guy there. Sorry, little guy.
And that's the payoff.
Okay, good. Because it's been a great story. I've been reading Gotham Central. Remember the name of it, Bobby?
How's it going?
It's good. It's like
is it labor intensive? Because it's like, I mean, I know it's a huge book.
A huge book. I'm over halfway through it.
Wow, nice.
It's like 3-part stories, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all kind of nothing's super duper intertwined. They reference back, but like, it's dealing really with these people and that work these different shifts in the Gotham Police, and sometimes they are dealing with like this last story was about the Mad Hatter. Which I don't know a ton about that character in that universe. He's fucked up, and I did learn a lot about him in this process. So, Two-Face was in it. Batman has literally just kind of been like, he swoops in, says something, and leaves to them. So, You know, and it's an interesting dynamic because we can let this sit for X amount of time and the bat will come fix it, or we can try to fix it ourselves.
Right,
and then the
right.
bat may come fix it anyways because
Right.
they don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a very interesting dynamic that they have, but it's very police procedural. I mean, it honestly, I guess in my head, I'm reading some of them like you know, characters from The Wire or
Right,
something
right,
like that.
right.
So I think if you like stuff like that, or even like Law and Order kind of procedural shows, it's a good read.
Did you ever read Arkham Asylum? Did I let you read Arkham Asylum?
I don't think I've ever read that.
It's
played the game.
It's phenomenal.
The game is
is phenomenal as well. But Morrison wrote it when he wasn't batshit crazy, so to speak.
Batshit
so
crazy.
to
You see what I did there? But in there, Two-Face is in Arkham, and they are like working to fix him. And they worked him off of the coin and onto a dice so that he has 6 options for every. And then they worked him off of the dice and onto a deck of cards, so he has 52 options. But it's too many, and like he's like shitting and pissing himself like on the floor, like he can't make any decisions.
I was gonna say because there's a 100-sided die.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, is he going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons soon?
Just quick sidebar. That when I was at Comic Con, they had these like dice rolling gimmick things. Like for
Dice
Warhammer,
Tower?
dice towers and little.
Oh, that
medieval-
tower was dope.
Yeah, and like you drop it and it goes down. And, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Like it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work for 40K just because like you have to roll fucking 60 dice at a time. It works.
right.
I actually checked that booth out pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It's all resin stuff.
Yo,
yeah.
you can just print it, dude. You have a 3D printer.
I know.
You can just print that shit out. Are you not using it? Because I'll give you a list of shit to print out for me if you're not printing anything.
Yeah. So
If I had a 3D printer, it would be on 24/7 until it burns out.
can you 3D print another one of me to run it? Because
You just have to press a button, right?
I know I need to buy a laptop dedicated to that
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
use my laptop on the CNC.
There's
as
so
well.
many things on Thingiverse.
There's a ton,
And
I've
they're
printed
really,
out
really
some.
good things, like really fucking detailed stuff that you would think is, a real product.
I did at Baltimore. You know, those people are always there doing the 3D scans and.
Yeah.
I asked
Making
him, I
action
said,
figures out of you?
I said, "Can you just do head sculpts?" He's like, "Well, we do a bust, which is here up."
Right.
He said, "But we do that, and we also." I said, "Can you just send me the file?" He's like, "Yeah, I can send it to you raw, or we can slice it for you, which is how it prints the layers." So, and I think he said it was $100, which I mean that's a lot of money, but
But the equipment that they had to get to scan your
Right.
fucking...
oh,
Right,
absolutely, and they'll do it off of photos too, so you don't have to do it there. You
Oh,
can
no
send
shit.
them-
I think it'd be less. Wouldn't it be less accurate?
I would
Like if it's
imagine.
not like 3-dimensional.
I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I don't know.
Because some people, dude, have you ever seen people where like they look completely different from the front and from the side?
Oh, like Peppa Pig, yeah.
Oh yeah, when Peppa Pig's facing you, he's actually got 4 eyes.
Like so Energon Addict, Dave's little girl loves Peppa Pig, and she's got all the little action figures. And I was over there last time I was over there. She brought her collection over and was showing
How
me.
is that like in 3D form?
That's terrifying. That's what I was getting to.
It's just like it's like a flounder. Is that flounder? That
The fish?
Yeah, that had like all his face on one side.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
like The Simpsons.
yeah. I mean, The Simpsons in 3D is kind of fucked up too.
You would know you had a whole collection of those.
I know,
things.
I do. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty. I think I'm down to like 30. Yeah. So
Yeah, Peppa Pig in real life.
Peppa Pig in real life is terrifying. Which there's this kind of resurgence with. It's just strange. Like my 11-year-old daughter watches Peppa Pig, but there's this whole thing where people are like editing Peppa Pig and doing these crazy videos with it.
That's part of the YouTube problem. Peppa Pig
Yeah.
is a huge contributor to the YouTube problem.
That's funny.
It's a really genuine,
Yeah, like
joy laugh you had there.
it's often cited because people have run them like for hours or whatever, like you know, and it's one of the reasons why kids are watching so much YouTube. Like it's one of the main contributors.
Oh, I remember something else from the Nerd Week.
Yeah,
We watched that Watchmen.
yeah, the HBO show we did.
Oh,
how
the
is
new
it?
show?
It's interesting. There's a so it opens real quick. There's going to be some spoilers. It opens with like this, like, you know, terrible times of America, Ku Klux Klan raiding the streets, dragging black people, you know what I mean? Just terrible, heinous, historical shit. And then it kind of jumps forward, and a black cop has pulled over a white driver and is definitely, you know, kind of profiling the white driver. There's an interesting dichotomy there of how the tables have turned that they kind of get right into. I'm not exactly sure what the statement is that they're making. The Rorschach folk seem to be like super like Ku Klux Klan, but just wearing Rorschach masks, which doesn't really line up to me with Rorschach's mind state, or you know what I mean, like his general outlook on life. But he is, he's definitely, Rorschach is definitely on the conservative side of things. But I don't know if they've taken that and warped it into something disgusting. Do you know what I mean? So, and there's like superheroes that are like part of the police force, but they've jumped right into the story without any real explanation of the world. So it's very confusing at the moment. But it's
So maybe it would be cool for you to explore through the show.
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right.
I had like no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
It's cool to watch.
Oh,
but I have
and
no
he's,
clue.
and he's,
And
you've
I don't
never
know
seen The Watchmen, you never
No.
read The Watchmen.
Well,
So
I mean,
There was like leeches falling from the air or whatever it was. Not leeches. like
yeah, like
octopus.
they're like little bits of octopus or squid.
Sounds very anime.
So like, but I'm not sure.
does.
They didn't
but
go
it's-
in any
it's-
crevices.
But it's obviously tied to the giant squid
Yeah,
monster.
monster, yeah.
You know, so like, but I'm not sure how and why. And Ozymandias is definitely in there, and he's doing okay.
I mean,
The teaser
he's the only actual superhero, so he'll be fine.
Well, no, I mean Manhattan.
Oh yeah,
so is that universe actually part of the DC universe now?
So that's what Doomsday Clock is
right.
about. Because
And I'm anxious to read that when you get done with it.
So, did you watch The Watchmen, so to speak?
Man, I
Because
did.
they've been trying to figure out who watches The Watchmen.
Right. I watched The Watchmen. I think. What year did that come out? Do you remember?
I don't.
I wish we could figure out.
It was
a way
before
to
Man
know
of
that.
Steel.
I saw it in the theater. I'm 90% sure, and I watched it at least once before.
So that's in my top 5. That's in me personally.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's pretend I've never seen it, and I know I've never read the books. Do you think this is kind of a fresh start take on everything from the?
I think it
2009.
Thanks.
2009.
Thanks, Cody.
I think that it is. However, I do feel like you need to kind of know the world a little bit. So like it was originally the Minutemen. They were like the original superhero team.
Yes, I remember that.
But like most of them were killed in like by like super fucked up ways, like getting their capes stuck in like revolving doors and like fucking, you know what I mean, like shit to like streamline.
No capes.
Shit to
Robert.
like,
Incredible.
shit to like streamline the superhero look. You know, it's like, which is cool. And then the Watchmen were used to win Vietnam.
yes.
Which that was like the second generation of heroes were the Watchmen, and they were used to win Vietnam. And it was basically Manhattan
Yeah, because he actually has
because he's
unlimited
God.
power.
Yeah, he's basically God. And then as a result, Nixon was able to stay in office, if memory serves. Like he got reelected another term and all this other shit. He basically got like the powers of the Supreme Chancellor. Like, you know, like he just stayed in office. And then it kind of becomes this social commentary on what would this world be like with superheroes for real, you know, which has now been exploited and kind of, you know, deconstructed to the nth degree with, you know, The Boys comes from that
exactly.
tree,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Preacher comes from that tree, 100 Bullets comes from that tree. But like the thing is like the question that the Watchmen ultimately comes down to is, is it worth trading one life to save a million or whatever? Like,
Sure.
Ozymandias plots this scheme to create a threat for everyone to sort of unite against, but in the midst of that, you know, millions are killed or whatever. And I think in the comics it's like this giant squid monster, but in the movie it's like a nuclear bomb that was caused by Manhattan, but not really.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I like the nuclear bomb thing better because the whole thing is like the Watchmen, the Doomsday Clock, the whole like you know what I mean, like 70s, 80s shit. Like I think it's
the
just
Cold War.
I think it's just more elegantly
more
done,
palatable than
yeah,
the giant squid monster.
Correct, that too. But like Manhattan fucks off, and he goes to Mars, I believe. But when he has this conversation with Silk Spectre on Mars, he basically says like it's time for me to create my. He's like I've experienced your world, I know your world, and I think it's time for me to start creating my own. And then the idea is that he created the DC multiverse.
Wow.
So like that's how they had, which I think is brilliant.
It's fun, great.
But I haven't read it yet. I think that's just what I have come to understand of the premise of it.
Oh, it's canon now for me.
Yeah, it's cool.
What Bobby said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just come to your fountain of knowledge, Bobby.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's limited because I haven't read it. I have the Doomsday. I've read a couple issues of Doomsday Clock. Yule actually sent me a couple digital ones, and I read it, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was like the kind of Watchmen verse and the DC universe start to overlap a bit. And there were some original characters that they've created from the Watchmen universe. Like one's like obviously like a take on Joker and Harley. But they're like, I mean, I hate to say this, I love DC, but like I found those characters to be vastly more interesting than the DC characters that they were interacting with. And I found myself like when I was getting to the DC characters, be like, come on, fuck, get out of here. I want to get back to the fucking Watchmen characters that are new.
Do you think that it's because they don't have 60 years of baggage that they're trying to?
I think it's just because, but it's also because like I think it's difficult to create new characters that are engaging for me anyway.
Right.
And they were able to do it. So it's like almost like, oh my God, like
I think it helps because
a whole new world.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
It's in a world that you already know and love.
Yeah.
So like it's not like you don't have to buy into a whole new thing.
Yeah.
It's like a new thing, but in something familiar.
Yeah.
Packaging.
Yeah. It's like like Nice Little Republic or something. Like they've taken something that I'm very familiar with and that I passionately love, and then they've like been like, "What, have you tried it with oregano?" I'm like, "Holy fuck, it does taste good with oregano."
It's amazing.
Too much spice for Cody.
Yeah.
Cody doesn't need anything
about that no capes thing.
What now?
That no capes thing, whatever her name is, that from Incredibles. Did you see when Madonna fell off stage? Her cape
didn't
got
see
caught.
that. What is her name? The little woman.
I can't remember what her name is now.
We'll think of it when we're done
But yeah,
with this.
Madonna done. I think it was on the Brit Awards in like
No
4 years ago or something like that.
Stepped on her cape and
She
fell
stepped
off.
on her cape and fell off the stage, and then
name
they
is
just cut in that. She's like, no capes.
But like Alan Moore is, and the interesting thing is that Dave Gibbons drew it and Alan Moore wrote it. And Alan Moore has, he's Dr. Manhattan. He's fucked off, and he doesn't want anything to do with anybody, and he's just practicing his black arts on the top of some mountain,
Wizardry.
naked with a scarf.
Ugh.
But Dave Gibbons has like been involved with all of it. Like he's with the shits. Like he was involved in the live action movie. He's involved in this show. He's involved with all of that stuff, like the Before Watchmen stuff, which is all fantastic. It's just a cool world.
Mode.
It's a very dark.
That's it.
It's a very dark world and a very it's like it's like almost like reimagining the golden age of comics if it was fucked.
Right.
Like if
because of the era it takes place.
yeah.
And I had a normie conversation. There's a guy. My job, a lot of my job is riding with dealers from not that kind of dealer, from truck dealerships, and I built relationships with a lot of these people. And one guy's he's a borderline not normie. I mean, he's plugged in enough. And we were talking about Batman movies in general and how good the Nolan-verse movies were and how dark they were. And I think the Burton stuff was dark, but it was still a little more punchy. I think. You got more
For sure.
zingers in there than you did.
It's Burton dark, where it's like there's a tongue-in-cheek element to it.
Yeah, there's penguins in the sewer.
Right.
But he and I had the conversation of I think a lot of people our age that aren't plugged into the comic world at least Batman to them is Super Friends.
Right.
It's pow and bang and joinks from the 66 stuff. So
Yeah, I think the Nolan verse is responsible for changing the general tone of how the public views Batman.
I mean, because these are dark books. There's a lot of fucked up shit
Yeah.
that happens in it, and you got some pretty fucked up shit that happened in those
Yeah, the Nolan
movies as
films.
well. Yeah, it was just like in the third one when they hang the guys from the bridge. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, just that they were willing to show that.
Yeah.
Staying in the DC pocket,
I love this pocket.
I've
It's so warm.
I've committed to watch the Arrowverse stuff until this big crossover happens.
Really? You've gone too far.
Bobby's, I don't like this pocket.
So I'll tell
It's
you.
like a little
the wrong
pocket.
pocket. It's the-
It's
yeah,
a little
it's-
pocket
yeah,
inside the pocket. Don't go into that little pocket. You'll never get anything out of
You
it.
got the dime bag pocket.
Yeah. That's where you kept your pocket watch. many years
I'm
ago.
sorry.
That's
Yeah,
what it's
pocket
for.
watch pocket. That's what I meant.
So Batwoman is a new show, and I don't know if it's going to tie into all that or not. But
Of course it will.
It has to.
I'm sure it will. But it's okay. I mean, there's an agenda there with the young lady who plays Batwoman is non-gender. Ruby Rose is her name.
I
So
know.
she
She was in John Wick.
She was the
just
silent
mute.
the mute in John Wick. So she's there's some conflict with the girl she's in love with versus, that times past and things. It's been interesting so far. Alice of the Wonderland gang is the main villain so far, and may end up being her sister. Maybe there's a lot of backstory, but I'm gonna try to.
Sounds comic booky.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 episodes.
The old Bobby trick.
Flash.
I like it.
Flash and Arrow. I haven't watched either of those in a couple years, so I'm a little lost.
Are they
what's
still
going
on?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's the final season of Arrow, but it's. I guess the Monitor has come. Is that who would come to tell them things are going to happen?
Yeah, and the Anti-Monitor.
I don't know. Some guy in a weird costume has told Barry that you're gonna die. Some shit's gonna happen, and then he's told he's actually taken Oliver from his multiverse to another universe. And that's where the first,
confusing at all.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's I felt Cody when he's like, I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of felt like that, but I did go back and read some synopses.
It's just fucking impressive they're still on. They've been on for a long time.
So they have a huge following.
This is the final season for Arrow.
But it's years.
Yeah,
I thought they were canceled years ago.
I think it's season 7 that Arrow's on.
That's fucking crazy.
I watched the first season of Flash, and that was good enough for me.
I'm just really.
I knew the vibes.
I'm really intrigued on how all this.
The WB vibes.
Yeah, I knew the vibes.
Baltimore Comic Con was cool. Me and Brian Brink went on Sunday, and we were there. In my opinion, the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
I saw everything I needed to see.
How long were you there for?
3 hours.
Yeah,
4 hours. I mean. I'm not digging for loose comics. I didn't look for any comics really.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of trades there this year. Usually they have like the 50% off bins like everywhere.
Yeah, I saw a couple, but it's like I didn't feel like digging through them.
Without giving them a plug, I'm not sure what's going on. They had a bullshit reason, but there was a vendor there that you're not fond of.
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar.
It was toned down 80% from what they usually do. I mean, a small little notch in the wall, and I was like, I wonder what's going on here.
Good.
What have you been doing?
I knocked over their stand for you.
Thank you.
The variance in pricing.
Keep your leg.
I bent one corner of every page.
The variance in pricing on stuff was wild. Like, just going through a lot of these booths that are the exact same. They've got Black Series, they've got Marvel Legends, they've got NECA. Maybe a couple Mezco here and there. But you'd see like a Jyn Erso figure for $15 loose. What?
Yeah.
And you see another guy that has like boxed one for like 10, and then like.
But that's the thing about convention. That was part of the fun when I used to go.
It
like,
was.
Look at all the
But-
things
but
and then buy later.
in a convention that size, because like that's the thing that's interesting about like huge comic book cons or whatever is that like you have, there was vendors there from Baltimore, there was vendors there from New York, there was vendors there from Atlanta, there was, you know what I mean, like and the rate is going to be different for all of those folks,
right? But I guess what I'm getting at is it's pretty common knowledge that those were $5 figures,
right.
Five Below, and apparently there's even going to be even more of them
at Ollie's.
popping
you
up
can,
at
you can
Ollie's.
bargain with them.
Yeah.
How much do you pay to get in for?
So that's another thing. It was $30 for one day.
So $10 an hour.
$10 an hour. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Because in my mind, I'm like, was that? I mean, it was cool hanging out with everybody, but was that a $30 experience? I don't know. I mean, it was fun. I picked up that one Joker print, and I picked up 2 other prints. That is anybody in here familiar with the show Parks and Recreation?
Yes,
I'm familiar with it.
Okay,
I've never seen it.
It's a drawing of Ron Swanson, and on his head it says "All the bacon and eggs." And is anybody familiar with the show Arrested Development?
Yeah, I love that show.
Familiar with it, never seen it.
So I got a picture of Tobias,
Blue Man. Yes.
the Never Nude. Like all these guys are like,
Yeah.
So I'll have those hanging in my house.
I said, me and you can talk about Arrested Development and Burn Notice.
That's right. Just Tobias Funke was the world's first anarchist. Don't ever write that down. He almost got arrested for his business cards.
That's where Michael Cera came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He came from that show. Jason Bateman's on it. I've never watched. Tried to watch season 4 on Netflix, and I know there's a season 5 too. But if you just, from my mind, I'm just sticking with the 3 that came on Fox.
Yeah. It's one of those things like that everyone wants back because it was stopped early, but then you never get the same vibes again.
Right.
Yeah, it's like completely different. Well, they did season 4, and it's like originally they did an episode. Their first episode was on this character, and the next episode was on this guy. Then they re-edited it. I didn't ever see it, but they actually made it into like a normal kind of sitcom setup.
Yeah.
And then they did season 5, and I don't think the entire cast returned. But nonetheless, the first 3 seasons are great.
Yeah,
I
they're
just
great.
I just love them. There's so many just silly little in-jokes there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You might like it. This has some awkward humor in it.
Oh, it's super awkward.
Is Michael Cera the one from Superbad?
Yeah, the skinny kid.
Did you see the picture of him where he looked like Hitler's mum?
He did. I'm sorry, what?
What?
You know Hitler.
Oh, I'm familiar.
He had a mother.
Who?
Never
heard of him. So anyway, continuing with absolutely no cut. What were you saying?
Well, basically, Michael Cera looks like Hitler's mum. There was a picture going around.
Really?
Yeah. there's
Oh,
one picture.
really?
But it turns out I shared it after because I think I look more like Hitler's mum.
Do you really?
Yeah, but only in one photo.
I would imagine Hitler's mom
can
is a
carry
very
on.
plain-looking woman. I think
Yeah.
that's what we're getting at.
What if Hitler's mom was
we can
super
carry on,
hot?
I'll find it.
And then Hitler was ugly, so he had a complex about it.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
While he's
His mustache is
looking up-
trash.
Well, he just ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. But
No.
who wants that anyway?
Charlie
Looks like a
Chaplin.
nose shadow.
Charlie Chaplin.
No
wanted it real
shadow.
bad.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin.
And Michael Jordan wears it for some reason. I don't know.
Let me
Okay,
see.
no, it does look more like you. Yeah, okay.
But it's only that photo.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
wow.
crazy.
that is
That
crazy.
is fucking
All right.
amazing.
I won't ask why she's dressed like a priest, but maybe
I mean,
that was just the
it's-
vibe then.
19 whatever year that was.
1990 motherfucking one. No?
No.
That wouldn't have been
Fashion,
18.
Yeah, I know. 1990 motherfucking 2.
Well, mine's NWA back in this motherfucker, yo.
Mine's Red
Taking
Man's
out
Time
all
for
your
some action.
commercialized ass.
That's it.
Wow.
But then every other photo looks like
Yeah.
that.
So hey, my wife had been listening to this podcast, and I
Why?
Not this one.
Not,
Okay.
no. My wife has been listening to a podcast called The Dollop, and I might have mentioned it on here
Yeah.
before. So basically, the setup would be
I
like,
think Greg listens to that.
oh, okay.
I think that's where I've heard it first.
Weird flex, okay?
I honestly thought it was something that maybe you or Adam had mentioned years ago, but maybe not. So basically, the setup is I've done all this research for this particular subject, and you're my comedian partner. You have no idea what I haven't shared this material with you, so you're hearing it for the first time, and basically they just crack jokes.
Okay.
It's actually pretty funny.
It's like improv comedy.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, yeah, with a setup. So I listened to, it's funny that I listened to the first part of 2. They break them up sometimes, they're big. The last one I listened to was it's about Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's some fucked up shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the riots that were in Berkeley during, like the late 60s, where they literally just were mowing down people with machine guns. All Reagan. It's
Reagan
behind
did
all
a
of it.
yeah,
Really?
Reagan did a lot of fucked up. He was not
No,
good.
he was
I don't
not
know
a
why
good-
he's looked back up on fondly. I feel like
He
by
is.
people
and
But
myself
he did a
included,
lot of
because
shitty
I didn't
things.
know this. I mean, this is
He started trickle economy, the shit that doesn't work, that where everyone's poor now.
yeah,
Yeah,
basically that. Yeah, so you go all the way back to there. And Nancy Reagan apparently was famous for
Being a fucking hack,
being
astrologist.
You know what Reagan had is the same thing Obama had. He had those like bars. He had the bars. Like he would drop like a 2-sentence phrase that's gonna be a meme 30 years later. Do you know what I mean?
Was he in office for? Did he do 2 terms?
he did 2 terms.
Yeah.
So
He had bars. Like I
He was
think
an
that-
actor, so-
Well, yeah, he was an actor. Yeah. So, but I think like I was thinking about this reason. I don't mean to cut you off, but like do you remember they used to call Obama the deporter in chief?
Yes.
But like nobody ever talks about it. Bars. Because when he got up and he talked, he made you fucking feel good.
yeah,
Like there's it's the fucking Will Smith. It's the rock, it's the charm, it's the charisma, it's the
It's talent.
yeah.
Hey, where we
Yeah.
at with that Savage Dragon movie? We got The Rock signed on.
Shout out to William Fong.
Shout out to William.
Oh, yeah.
He brought some heat with the memes this week. But like he was an awful actor actually. He ended up being he was a president of SAG and like an officer in he was the president of SAG, which was the union,
The Screen Actors Guild.
right? And then he was an officer for like one of the movie the pictures companies. But they made the moving pictures, with the people in the talkies. I don't remember which MCA maybe.
You could take your fucking SAG card and burn it, you little cocksucker. I treated you like a son. You fucking stabbed me in the heart. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Anything? No. Anybody know the movie?
No.
True Romance. When the dude ended up being a snitch like that, when he was wearing the wire, and they found out when the police put the wire on him, and they're like test the levels, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Elliot, and I'm with the Cub Scouts of America. We're trying to sell uncut cocaine so we can get to the jamboree."
Yeah.
So, Nancy Reagan was apparently famous in Hollywood for What That Mouth Do. Yeah, and had her, and she was a horrible person, just absolute.
Yeah,
trash.
Really?
I
gotta check out this.
She fucking did.
She was trash.
She did fucking influence politics through the husband by an astrology.
Exactly. So that was a big thing. Yeah. So it was all.
Bobby, I thought you'd be all over this stuff.
That's not my bag.
So
I thought interesting historical figures were your thing.
My wife would be on me too. She'd be like, to make sure they get the lavender oils. I'd be like, all right, they're gonna get the lavender oils.
So he swung from like wildly liberal to wildly conservative, and a lot of that was Nancy's family. Like her dad was like super conservative,
and had a lot of influence.
Yeah. So, but getting to when he was elected, they said he like the signs of the mental
dementia
breakdown immediately started. He was in office, he went up and they said the only black person he had on his cabinet, I don't remember, I think it was Secretary of Education at the time. They're at some I think mayor's convention, and that guy's there, and he walks up and introduces himself. Oh, what city are you the mayor of? Like off the gate, he was fucked up.
Yeah. And he was.
Yikes.
It was influencing policy the whole time while he was fucked up.
And
being influenced by an astrologer.
Yeah. So my wife suggested I listen to that's another 2-parter. I've got part 1 down. It's about the opioids in America.
Oh, I know all about this shit.
So the Civil War is why a lot of opioid problems we have today is in place, because they were just handing that shit out
willy-nilly.
Yeah, I mean, they were cutting limbs off constantly. I mean,
that shit fucks with me.
They said when
I watch those movies, like the Civil War movies, and you just see him take a hacksaw to somebody's leg, I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Well, this is the example they
was
gave.
normal.
Yeah.
And of course, they're reading somebody's diary. They said 3 out of 4 surgeries performed were amputations, and from that, you had a 25% chance of living.
Because they didn't have antibiotics.
They didn't know. I mean, they didn't know about disease, so they said they'd have a man-high pile of arms and legs.
No.
And they would give them opiates, orally, and then they had a powder that they literally would just pour in open wounds. But they said that fucked up genetically a need for that drug, because people you're a one-legged or a no-legged Civil War vet sitting at home, you need something. You're fucked up, right? And that, like, genetically, people now that are I won't say predetermined, but you have a genetic marker that's you need this to be whole. So I think that's probably part of the reason we have some of the issues we do today.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and I guess that's probably about it for me this week. I'm gonna finish listening to those other halves of that probably next week. So.
Who was it?
Oh, hang on. I'm sorry, one more thing. I've been working on a bunch of diorama shit I can't tell you about. So,
of course. I mean, that's always like your baseline.
Yeah.
Shout out to whoever fucking sent us the picture of Wolverine versus Blade. Do you see that?
I didn't even see it.
There's a Wolverine versus Blade number 1.
There's a comic. It's actually
it
not
was
that
comic
old.
because we were talking about it last week. Like, wouldn't it be cool if they were fighting?
Nice. I wonder how that turned out.
That's that Maryland Phil has filled us.
Yeah. What's up with Maryland Phil? I got the opportunity to take my kids out on Friday. I just want to add this to the Baltimore Comic Con. Like, I took Jaina and Selena.
To the block?
No. No. When they're 18.
18?
Yeah,
18
if they want to go, I'll take them. But we went to the con by ourselves and, like, walked around and walked out and walked down to the harbor, walked around, like, got coffee. Like, Jane and I got coffee and Selena got a hot chocolate. And, like, but, like, we had a fucking great time. Like,
awesome.
I told them when we left, I was like, one complaint and I will pack you up and take you home. So like they just walked into it with like these positive vibes, and like we had a fucking fantastic day, like laughing, joking, taking pictures with each other, and it was tremendous. Probably one of the best times I've had with my kids. You know,
Krista asked why Leia looks like she's flexing on you in that picture.
I know, right? She's in character, man. Yeah, she's in character. She's in character. Let's see. I watched The Righteous Gemstones. Fucking amazing. So I talked about it the week Dante was here, and he was watching it too. I said, "There's this show I'm hearing about that's pretty good. It's The Righteous Gemstones. It has Danny McBride in it as the star, and it's about this church, like this mega church family, and how they run this church and everything else. But that's more so the backdrop for the actual drama that's going in. Like walking into it, I was like, oh, this is going to be like a goof, you know, on these mega church people, and you know they're simple and they're superstitious and they're whatever. But
it's about the people who runs the church or people who attends the church.
Runs.
Okay. I don't think people who runs the church are simple.
Well, you know what I mean, like make them out to be like giant scam artists, and all, which they do dabble in. Like there's an element of that, but it's really about the drama of like a few of the characters and how it plays out. But it's fucking funny and it's not goofy because I thought it was going to be Eastbound and Down, which we also watched.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. What was it we watched? It was funny.
Yeah, but it wasn't like there was some of that, but it was really really well done. Like Laura and I watched it in 2 days. Like the whole series, like we couldn't stop.
It's done?
Yeah.
How many episodes is it?
I think 8 or 9.
Oh, okay. So it's like a miniseries.
Yeah, but like we couldn't stop. Once we started, it was like Pringles. Like it was on. And go ahead.
No, you say you missed something from The Harbour. Bill Burr.
Oh yeah.
I know you just told me and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I'm walking in the harbor with my girls, and there's these dudes on the side. They're skateboarding and they're smoking weed and everything else, and they were like, hey yo, that's Bill Burr. so like I looked over at her and they were like, yeah, yo, you Bill Burr. And I was like, and I put my hand on my chest, like me, and they were like, yeah, you Bill Burr, yeah, like just kept saying, they're all laughing and they kept saying it. And I was like, we're not the same. I was like, we have a similar heart, but we're not the same people. And they were laughing, and we carried on. And my kid's like, who's Bill Burr? And I was like, bald white guy.
I actually had a bald white guy connection at a guy called Baron Corbin, who's a pro wrestler.
Oh yeah, you did say
bald-headed guy with a goatee, basically. And I had on a black shirt, and he always wears black everything. So that was funny to me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Righteous Gemstones, like a strong recommend. Like it's fantastic. The premise is one of the sons of this family who's like next in line to be the lead pastor. He's at a prayer convention and they get like prostitutes and blow, and there's video footage out, and the video footage gets used as blackmail leverage over, and this how they deal with that drama. But it's
that's interesting.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. It's funny. It's interesting. There's good characters. Like everything I want in a show.
And short.
Yeah, in short.
I feel like you like the 6 to 8 episode pocket.
I think there's a truth. I think there's truth to that.
Just The Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, it's amazing. Other than that, I've just been pretty much prepping for TFCon, but with one exception. So, we knew Cody was coming in on Friday, and then we had Baltimore Comic Con, and then prepping for TFCon, and then TFCon, and Thursday Matt's coming in. Like it's just boom, 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 boom from here on out. And so Tuesday of last week, my wife had to work half a day, and I didn't have to. And she came home from work, and we had lunch at the table. And then we went upstairs and we got naked and we got in bed and we put on Righteous Gemstones and like watching episodes and like just laid in bed naked, fucked a couple times, like from 12 to 3 when Jaina got home.
It's awesome.
It was amazing. Like all we did was laugh, be entertained, and fuck for 3 hours. I felt like we were kids again. Like it felt like it was Friday night at 6 o'clock and her mom dropped her off in my house and I'm sneaking blowjobs on the couch or whatever it is. Like it was awesome.
Did you do it doggy style so you could both watch the show?
Yeah, the side from the side.
So we did that.
The Joe Pesci move.
So roll tide on that.
So doggy style was it did get put in service, but it was not during the show. We always paused the show because we were into the show. We didn't want to miss a beat.
We just put on the subtitles.
Yeah. The other thing is so some of the review stuff. Blur came in, and I reviewed that, and that was slightly.
You gave a less strong recommend to Blur than you did to the show. You didn't give a strong recommend to Blur.
Yes, true. But Blur to me is a weak release from them. It's not terrible.
You think it's an older design as well?
I think it's an older design, but I also think that like. So I want to reiterate.
Do you have that in? Is it on the display?
Yeah,
I want to look at it.
And it looks perfect with them. Yeah. I liked it more when I put it on the shelf with them.
That crotch flap though.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
It's
because it all goes up in one piece.
Yeah.
Is everyone else's eyes painted except for him? Because that would be off.
I have to look.
It's like a marking.
I have to look.
Knows what a marking is.
Yeah, or chrome it, I guess.
Do you guys know what a marking is?
Merkin.
I'm Merkin. You're Merkin.
No.
He's Merkin, but he's not.
You don't know what a Merkin is. So,
you're English.
Yes.
In the late 1800s, it was very much a faux pas for a woman not to have pubic hair. So if a woman had crabs and had to shave her pubic hair, she had a merkin, which was a fake patch of pubic hair.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this is a real thing.
It's different now.
How
It's
the
opposite day.
times have changed.
How the times have changed.
Now, like, what are you doing?
Or maybe it's like you see a girl, if she was shaved, you was like, oh, she's got crabs. So now they just,
But now it's like, man, like, what are you? You ain't that busy.
You're shaving your legs anyway, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. So,
hopefully.
so the other thing is about this Blur is that it's a weak release for them.
Mm-hmm.
But still better than.
But still better than most anything else you can get. But for them, it's not up to their usual standard, in my opinion. And I just mean it as a robot, not so much as a like the engineering or any of that stuff. Just like the playability of the robot, it's fiddly. It's a little bit more fiddly than I'm used to. Usually their shit is rock solid. It's rock solid in one mode. It's rock solid in the other mode. And the process to get to each is a fucking disaster. But this is not rock solid in robot mode. It's weak. It's not, and like I said, better than most other things, but weak.
It's a very strange seeing it next to that
Unique
Toys Blur, because that has been, how long ago did that come out?
A while.
4 years, maybe?
Yeah.
So other than SXS, nobody else has touched that.
SXS Blur?
I know Robert's very fond of that. But it's that one just looks so dated. We looked at some pictures on Another M last night, and it's like, geez, you don't realize, because it was such a good figure at the time.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's still not bad, and the engineering on it's still a ton more fun than that thing.
It's just the style has changed. I made the analogy of, it's just like getting a new car every couple years now. It's like, oh, I want the new style. Because that style, like, I remember having that up against the KFC Blaster, and it's like, man, these look great together. But now it's like the Blaster looks dated because it's not streamlined.
Right. But that's that Blaster is my preference.
I like that Blaster.
That's a good Blaster.
But moving on, and then I did the legend scale thing. There's some people,
the chart, I like it.
There were some people
That was
pissed
very good.
So the chart, like, people are fucking funny, man. So like, I've been talking about there's a scale issue with the legends, and everybody's been like, "Dude, can you explain that? Can you explain it?" Like, I've been getting it over and over and over.
I thought it was explained very well.
So I think so too. But like,
and then you explain the chart before you even start. Like, this is how I made the chart. It was put together. And
Yes.
It was all right. Yeah.
So then I do it, and I get like all the my first 20 comments are like, "Who cares about charts?" Or like which is like, and then people saying like, "Well, the chart, the G1 chart isn't used properly," and I'm like, dude, I think I say that in the opening stuff where I'm like, look, there's no perfect like litmus test for this, but if we have to choose it, we should probably choose this as the litmus test, and we can just compare it to this.
Because that's the only reference.
Correct.
So even if it's drawn differently on a show, that's the reference.
Correct. So, and then I also make a point of saying like, look, and if that doesn't matter to you, then that's fine. That's but like, God bless it, man. Like, I had people fucking like this is silly. I had people saying like, your scale is wrong.
How is your scale wrong when you drew from the chart? Dude, you showed the side by side picture.
And Laura and I took so we based everything at prime.
Yes.
And then
which makes sense.
We did the math of measuring
the numbers, Bobby.
Yeah, like, well, I had Laura really do it, but like, but I mean, we were crunching numbers to get like the like the ratio. So like, we took the regular scale and we measured those two lines, and then we took that and extrapolated it to match the numbers of the toys. Like,
you should have gotten Brian Brink involved, bro.
But I mean,
could have done some spreadsheets.
It's crazy accurate,
Yeah.
And then people would just be like, "It's wrong." I'm like, is it wrong, or is it wrong because you're wrong?
You don't like it, yeah.
So I've said this recently. I think I've seen a lot of people. I mean, I'm just including myself just because I'm a fucking maniac. But I've seen a lot of people come into the Legends hobby and leave shortly. That they come in, they buy a lot of stuff, and then you'll see that same person selling everything like 2 months later.
Oh, like Legends.
like Marvel Legends. I
Is it
see
on mattresses though? Oh no.
I see
Something about Legends.
I see less mattresses, but what I'll say is I think it's confusing and aggravating to people. Because if you buy, it's like if you don't know and you buy all that Legends Plus, all that upscaled shit, and then you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. How am I supposed? And I think people get because I know a guy from a distance that actually it's a diorama guy, but I saw him pop into a Legends group and he was buying and buying and buying and buying. And then like a month later, selling and selling and selling and selling. And I saw what he was buying. He was buying the upscale stuff, and he was buying some of the regular stuff. And I just using that as an example. I don't know his particular situation, but I think it's confusing as fuck.
It is because there's no standard.
And that's all I was trying to do was to streamline it and say, look, these are your options.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff you can kind of pick and choose, but for the most part, you got to kind of commit
Stay
to
with
one
company.
or to the other, or say I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think what also pissed a lot of people off is that a lot of people bought those knockoff Dinobots because they were cheap.
Yep.
And then they say to themselves, no, they're supposed to be big. The DX9 got them wrong. And I sometimes in my head, I just assume that people are right when you hear them say the same thing over and over again. But when I actually looked at the chart, the fucking DX9 ones are dead to rights in terms of their size. And the oversized ones are too big.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
and it's fine to be wrong if that's your preference.
Correct.
Don't say like right is wrong just because you don't like it.
Correct.
'Cause I know I like my Dinobots huge, and I know that's wrong, but that's what I like,
and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, and if you like it, you win. Cody, what pocket are you in on this? I know you collect some Legends.
Just Magic Square.
Just Magic Square.
Cool.
So you're a snob.
They don't have that many
Is
out yet,
Magic
right? They only
Square
have like a handful, right?
Is Magic Square the fans' toys of the Legends game?
I see. I would say Iron Factory is the fans' toys of the Legends game.
But they're
They're not G1.
they're not
the
G1.
IDW.
But they're the ones
super stylized.
They're the ones that are most consistent.
And were they like the first? That was where this kind of started, right?
It was actually started with DX9.
Did they start the Warren Pocket line first?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the Iron Factory stuff is just, it's sculpted beautifully, it's painted beautifully, it's sometimes frustrating to get it to different modes. Like they are kind of the fans' toys, in my opinion, of the Legends game.
Okay.
But they are definitely, you know, they're going for that IDW look. But it's consistent at least. It's not like they're throwing like, here's a G1, you know, or if they do a G1, it's like an option. Like,
Doo-doo.
Yeah, doo-doo. But like the Megatron, you can swap out the IDW chest and put the G1 chest on if you prefer.
Yeah, they got some clever designs for sure.
Yeah, but it's but I thought it was interesting. And then like there's some stuff like New Age B that works fine with Magic Square because you can like, it's such a small character, you can kind of fudge the numbers a little bit and make it work. Like there's wiggle room, but pretty much you got to commit to one scale or the other.
Yeah.
Because there's no
Or say I don't care.
there's no like because Hasbro Takara set the standards for Masterpiece, so everything has to scale to them.
Right.
But there's none of that for Legends. So
Right.
everyone can. It's just small Transformers.
Yep.
So I've had to deal with some bullshit there. But
Yeah, that's dumb.
But I think also it's because I got so much. I think it always happens around this time. I get so wound up because I got so many things going on. Like the last thing I need to do is hear you fucking bitch and moan about something that's right.
But
you know.
Of all the topics you've covered lately, I'm surprised this one was the one that people were giving you shit about.
Well, so I think
Because this is just like this is numbers. Like you can look at it,
right,
and there's no right or wrong.
yeah. It's
It's just this is the scale.
it's just
and this is what-
objective,
yeah.
and you can do whatever you want with that information.
People get angry.
But I did get a fair amount.
Because
Like,
you didn't say anything was bad. You didn't say
Right.
this scale was bad.
correct. But I did, to be fair, like there were some people that were like appreciative. Like there were people that were like, man, I'm just getting started, and like this is something I've been banging my head against the wall on. So I do appreciate you taking the time to. So I mean,
I
there
think
was
that's super helpful if you want to get into the Legends game.
that was my intention anyway. You know, I don't collect Legends, so I don't give a fuck. It was just to be used as a tool for other people who wanted to start it. You know, that was the only thing. But whatever, that's the way it goes, I guess. I figure we'll get into the news and then talk about TFCon a little bit at the end.
Do we have questions? I thought we have false.
Yeah. And we'll do the question as well. So
Do we have much news?
no, not at all. So one of them though is should we expect anything different? Scorsese has kind of doubled down on his comic book movies are worthless,
Somebody else jumped and
Francis Ford Coppola has co-signed.
Yeah.
So Scorsese doubled down and said they turn cinemas into theme parks. They're not cinema. They're something else, and we shouldn't be invaded by them. And then
Does Savage Dragon have a girlfriend?
many, I think, right?
and Francis Ford Coppola said, let's see, as not only second Scorsese's. Okay, so he said, when Scorsese says that Marvel pictures are not cinema, he's right, because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration. I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie.
Really? You don't get inspired by Cap? Because I am.
So he says, I don't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over again. Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which is what I just said. So
did they ever talk shit about like Will Ferrell movies or Ben Stiller movies?
I don't know.
You know, they're all in the same.
Yeah, I hear you. But I'm just going to play devil's advocate on this because my personal opinion is we shouldn't expect anything different from these gentlemen. Like, you know, their body of work speaks to a different caliber of, you know, it's different. It like you can have a filet cooked perfect and also the next week enjoy McDonald's, you know, and it doesn't make McDonald's trash. No, it's just different and it satisfies a different niche. But
I wouldn't give up either.
Or you could put ketchup on the filet, and it's basically McDonald's.
See, that's what I do. I blend the best of both worlds. Is what I do. So,
you're a pioneer, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm ahead of the curve. The thing is I don't necessarily think they're wrong in some elements. I do think he's wrong, and I do think there's stuff that you can learn from these movies if you choose to have an open mind about them and not see them for just the popcorn element. Like, I think in particular, you know, you mentioned Cap. Like, I think there's a lot said in Winter Soldier. Like, dude, the fact that dude, I've said it 1,000 times, but with Winter Soldier and Civil War, that the fact that right and wrong doesn't matter to Cap anymore because he's my friend supersedes all of it. Like, sorry, the rules are out of play because he's my friend. You know, like there's some meat and potatoes there if you want to dig into that. But I think that stuff like that does get lost in the shuffle to people from the outside, from on the normie spectrum, both the jock that goes to the fucking cinema and loves it, and to the artist who doesn't want to take time to see the nuance in it.
I don't think every movie is something that you need to take something away from. I mean, I think you go see a Will Ferrell movie to check out for 2 hours.
Yes, it's
and laugh at him falling or whatever. Or you watch an Adam Sandler movie on Netflix. I'm not digging deep on that.
I agree, but I do think if you're looking at it from their perspective, and I'm just trying to play devil's
from
advocate.
From a filmmaker perspective?
Yeah, that when the overall abundance of overshadowing that these films are doing to kind of Hollywood. Now, at the same time, you can make the argument they're probably keeping Hollywood alive.
I think you're right about that.
And I think that's 100% valid, but I can understand their frustration of saying, like, fuck, you know, my movie's going to be shuffled in and out inside of a week. And, you know, these big budget, huge production, huge corporate backed things are going to be there for 6 months.
But also, like, we'll blame the fucking audience. That's what we want.
Well, I mean,
like if your movie gets shuffled up because no one's watching it, it's maybe not your movie's fault. Maybe it's great, but it's just people don't want to fucking see that shit.
And I agree, but let's turn it to music because I feel the same way about music. But I think there should be a balance, right? So, like for every Cardi B record that they play 1,000 times, or Justin Bieber record that they play 1,000 times,
I'll
or
take Bieber over Cardi B.
Justin Timberlake is coming back. I'm sure they're going to play a couple of his
Bringing
records.
Sexy back again?
I heard he was bringing Sexy.
Let's hope so, because as long as he's out of the woods is all I give a fuck about. But let's say that
There's nothing wrong with a good flannel shirt, Bob.
Jesus Christ.
I actually bought a flannel shirt this week.
Let's say that all of those things that are getting played it'd be nice to hear, you know, like an indie song here and there, or some sort of like a Tool record here and there, like inside.
Of course.
Yeah, well, like just to give an example.
But the movies they're talking about still exist. It's not like they are not
right. But I think that what he's saying is that it's overshadowed. It doesn't like just like the indie records still exist, but they're not. It's not an even playing field.
I mean, to your point, keeping Hollywood alive. I mean, do you remember before? If you really think about it, before the Marvel universe was created, how many times would you hear movie theaters? You know, we won't have movie theaters in 5 years. Everything. I think these big epic movies. You know,
that's the only reason that you need to go to a theater for the big screen and loud sounds.
Right. So let's think about the late '90s. You know, you'd have Last Action Hero, and then maybe a Stallone. You'd have 2 or 3 tentpole titles. They called them tentpole titles in the summer because it held up everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But you had great fucking movies that came out all year long.
But I guess he's saying that is more the balance.
I would be interested to see does he have a deal with I'm sure he has a deal with one of the movie studios.
I would imagine that both of them
I'm
do.
wondering if...
And saying it's not similar is fine, but saying it's...
You're getting tinfoily. I like where you're going.
But saying it's Despicable was a whole other spectrum. Saying Despicable means like it shouldn't exist, it's trash. I'm like,
I agree.
That's too fucking far.
I'm more on the Scorsese side of this argument than the Coppola side of this argument.
That's arguable because of it from an artistic point of view. But the thing is, Despicable is not.
But
it's not somebody putting out a picture from the internet and put ha-ha on it.
I agree. But the one thing I do agree with Coppola about in this is, you know, there is an element of those films that does get tiresome when I do feel like they were recreating the same film over and over and over again.
And when people get tired of seeing it, they'll stop.
Oh, for sure. But I'm not saying what's going to happen or what the kind of wave is, but just that, like, you know, like I expressed some of this when Black Panther came out, that I felt like it was very similar to Iron Man. It was very similar to Ant-Man. It was very similar. Like it is, and not to say that there's not difference. There is, but there's this overarching idea of a lot of these origin stories where they start that is very similar, and then especially in Marvel where it's just the good version of something fights the bad version of itself at the end. You know, your Black Panthers, your Ant-Mans, your Hulk did it. You know, like there's Iron Man did it. Like there's so many.
Okay, so let's look at some numbers. Let me put my tinfoil hat on. I don't have a tinfoil hat, so I'm just gonna put an empty can of Diet Mountain Dew in my head. So guess what the #1 movie distribution house is in the United States?
Disney.
Buena Vista, right? Disney. Guess what the market share is? This is this year so far through October 20th.
75%.
No,
35.
It's 30.1.
I'm doing pretty good with my numbers, Joe. You got to give me my flowers.
Do you know? Okay. Any guesses on the studio that Scorsese puts the majority of his stuff out there?
Warner Brothers.
No.
All right, that was all.
Paramount.
Okay.
Paramount
Paramount's
has 4.9% of the market share in number 6. So it's Buena Vista with 31.8%, Warner Brothers with 15.5%, Universal with 13.2%, Sony/Columbia with 10.8%. Yeah. So Paramount's behind Lionsgate. Lionsgate's 6.5,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I'll put that. That's John Wick right there. That's
Yeah.
that's the most profitable movie they've had since Hunger Games, I think. So they're in, 6th place with 4.9%. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think
some,
there's probably something there. There's probably something.
I'm sure
there.
he's still doing okay.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But-
if you look, Scorsese's probably my favorite director.
Oh, listen, I'm right there with you. But hey, I can play salt game as much as you want.
Sure. But and to your point a bit, like just to to argue it, not argue it, but just say like I think there is something to going into a movie that's not the sound and the lights and the such in the cinema and having that experience and walking out and like talking about it and on the way home from the car. I don't know. There is
I
something
think it's different for them people probably because like it's just not.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
I'd rather
for everything.
come from my own home to watch something that's just thought provoking or whatever, and then I can talk to the person next to me about it throughout the movie.
Yeah, I just feel like, and I don't disagree with you, and I'm usually
We're just different kind of people.
Yeah, but I usually play it the same way, especially because of the kids and stuff. It's just not worth the trouble to go see one of these, more character driven films, But like, there is something about being locked into that space, like where the person like that you're going to see it with doesn't check their Amazon order or whatever. You know what I mean?
But you are though, like, cause like I'm locked in there with all these other motherfuckers,
Right, but.
and it's a problem.
But usually that is not the case at these films. Like you're not packed elbow to elbow.
Still there. Like I don't remember what I watched. There was like fucking 4 people in the theater, and one of them was on the fucking phone.
I think it was Joker. That was my experience. But how was your audience attendance at Joker? Dude,
trying to
there
remember.
was less than 20 people in that theater.
So I went to that theater.
Opening night, first show.
But their money's doing good.
Yeah, it's for an R-rated film.
So it's going to be the
making
top
records and shit,
R-rated
right?
film of all time.
For an R-rated film.
So we went to that theater in the mall there in Westminster. I think I've talked about. They've refurbished it with the recliners.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nobody sitting on either side of us. I don't really remember. It wasn't a ton of people in there, and it was. We went on a. Did we go on a Saturday night? I think we might have gone on a Saturday. I mean, it wasn't packed out, but I don't think R-rated movies are going to be packed. I just don't think it is.
So continuing on, speaking of theme parks, Universal Studios Beijing reveals 7 themed lands: Harry Potter, Transformers, Jurassic World, and more.
When we going?
Never.
It's a very sensitive subject for the show right now.
Not right now. You've known me for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Every time that country comes up, I get aggravated.
It does seem strange to me that they would choose there.
What do you mean? I mean, the only China's so influential in the world right now because it's the money, and because they have fucking 8 billion people living there. There's tons of money there.
Sure, but
so everyone's bound down to the money.
I agree, but do you feel like those properties are as and maybe I'm wrong, but and I know it's that way. I guess more so with Japan, I guess, but like it feels like they're less celebratory of these more Western franchises than they are of the more Eastern franchises.
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought you have said that before, and I could be wrong. I could have misinterpreted.
In China?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what they're into now.
I got you, but like it just seems like it's like if you put up a Jurassic World in America,
they don't have
people
any,
are they had the little bullshit Jurassic World at Universal Studios Florida is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
and it's a German company. It just seems like it's just like a bizarre set of circumstances.
I don't know of. I mean, China has their own movie studios. They have their own big movies and stuff, but I don't know what franchises they have.
I don't either.
I don't either. As far as I know, I don't think they have one.
And like Transformers, American-owned property. All of their media is done in English.
All the toys are made in China.
All the toys are made in China, but I mean,
all the third parties are in China.
Yes, so I'm not saying that they don't have a fan base there, but I mean they had to put extra scenes, once again Chinese scenes in order to try to appeal to the Chinese market. So like
it's enough to appeal to them because there is a big market there, right?
Right, but they didn't have to add anything extra necessarily to appeal to the American market. As I guess if I'm looking at it like where I think this property is going to spread its wings most, it's like if I had to throw the dice, I'd say probably America. Like for this, whereas, if it was like something else, I'd say maybe.
I mean, it's probably also a tourist attraction. I'm sure people visit Beijing and China like as tourism. So like they will probably get a lot of international crowd there anyway. Mm-hmm. So people plan a trip to go to Beijing to visit China and to these places.
And like Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
Like it's big everywhere, right? I don't know.
I guess, but like Pokemon is big everywhere, right? But if they were going to open a Pokemon place, I would be like, man, open that shit in Japan.
Yeah, Japan.
Yeah, in Japan, but
I don't know. I guess that's how I see it. Like, I feel like it would do great in America, but it would blow the fucking roof off of Japan.
I'm not sure because Japan is a much smaller country and location it's not. I don't think it's as accessible to the everyday traveler or people.
Yeah, but neither is Beijing.
I don't know.
Didn't they host an Olympics in Beijing before?
Maybe.
Yeah, they have. They're hosting it in Japan
so it
next
must
year.
be fairly...
They hosted in Japan as well?
Next year. This coming up year.
I would not be surprised if the Chinese government has not given some huge subsidies to them
because they subsidize everything.
That's maybe.
To promote tourism.
I mean, there's got to be some nuts and bolts numbers that makes, these people that run Universal are not idiots. Especially the way they're fucking running the music business.
That's another thing. I need to look at the numbers on that too. Like the game developers are coming out now saying how China subsidizes the companies over there to have influence on Western gaming companies, like buying up shares and influencing the direction of games, basically. Because it's subsidized by the fucking government, and people open studios in China because like what other government would subsidize gaming companies?
Right.
But China as a whole has a big picture in mind where they want to fucking influence everything, so they just throw money at everything.
Moving on. Documentary Quest. Have you seen this trailer for it's a
documentary about documentaries?
It's a documentary about Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
I love Galaxy Quest.
It looks like it's going to be amazing. Like this documentary, like
Cody, have you ever seen Galaxy Quest?
I've never seen it.
Have you not? It's funny.
You never watch Star Trek. It's better if you did watch Star Trek,
right?
But it's great regardless. I think
it's got a great cast.
Yeah.
So they talk about it like that it was supposed to be this love letter to Star Trek fans. Like that's the entire intention of it. But it failed, and they talk about like why it failed, and it was also apparently it was supposed to be marketed towards adults, and at the ninth inning. They pulled all the fucking curse words out of it and changed the dynamics of it and marketed it towards children.
I did read, and I think
I'll be honest with you, just real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, but I didn't see it because I thought it was a kids movie.
Really?
Yeah, like Pluto Nash, and I just lumped it in that pocket. Nash. You know what I mean?
What a reference!
I just put it all in that same space.
Yeah. See, I don't see it's. I mean, there's Sigourney Weaver's kind of a suggestive character in that movie.
I don't doubt it. It's just the way that the marketing media hit me. It just made me think to myself, this isn't for adults.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
I knew it was a Star Trek parody. It was obvious it was a Star Trek parody, so I
I
interested.
think it was the article that Phil posted. I was reading, and that has been voted one of the top 10 Star Trek films of all time by Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
it's
Such a
great.
good parody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy making it with a tentacle monster in there. That's
There you
adult.
go. Sign me up.
So I do want to see it. Now I want to see both the film and the documentary.
Which
I
first?
saw that on. You need to watch the movie first.
Yeah, I feel like there's the right order, but I feel like for Bobby it might not be the same.
Yeah, I'm flexible.
I think it was on
Fluid?
It was on some
Fluid.
streaming
I'm
service.
fluid.
I could swear I saw it recently.
Did anybody watch the Bloodshot trailer?
No.
Okay.
JD, the Green Ranger already did like Bloodshot. It's weird that they didn't pick him again.
What do you mean?
There was like shorts with him as Bloodshot. Jason
Really?
David Frank, the Green Ranger.
I know who he is.
I don't.
Not a big fan.
I don't know.
Not a big fan. Why?
I just think he's a jackass. He just comes across.
He always
as a
got
jackass.
killed. He always got killed.
He
at
just
a
always
convention.
comes across as a jackass to me.
Really?
He always got killed at a convention, didn't he? He was at a signing and someone tried coming.
Yeah. Somebody. So it was. Where was it? Where was it? Because it was in like an Arizona. Because somebody I know was actually at that con. Somebody tried to bring like an actual like weapon in as a cosplay weapon to kill Jason David Frank.
I don't know why. It's weird because he like come across me as a pretty nice guy. He has a big fan base.
Yeah,
He's always shakes hands and kiss babies and does a lot of nerd projects.
Kisses babies.
Maybe I've got a different set of eyes on it.
He actually did MMA and won some fights back in the day. Like makes him.
I don't know anything about him.
It's morphin time.
Yeah.
I wish he would come out to the Power Rangers theme back in MMA days. That'd be amazing.
But you said he did some shorts of this character.
Yeah, Bloodshot.
And no, it's Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny to me is
Baby Rock.
I've never read a Bloodshot comic.
I haven't either.
I've only seen but I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with Valiant. I'm familiar with Exo Manowar. I'm familiar with a lot of these characters. I remember the big crossover event that they kind of hit the industry with when they first started out. Like
in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember it vividly. Interesting.
Turok. That was.
I got low key triggered for you, and I had to do some research
What happened?
because I was like, I thought this is an Asian character. My entire life, I've thought that Bloodshot
Was it an Asian character?
Yeah, because just from the cover art and stuff, like I often see him, like my brain just says that's an Asian guy.
Is it because it looks like a Japanese flag?
So I don't think that hurts, But I also feel like I was looking at some of the art of him, and like a lot of the artwork is like, a lot of like. Like
lot of staring.
like he's trying to read the fine print.
It's always sunny.
Is that what that show's about?
So I was like, and I was actually interested in having that conversation, but then I read it and like I couldn't really tell. But his name was like Raymond something. It was like but Joe, but his last name was
Raymond K. Hessel from Fight Club is an Asian guy.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it just struck me as bizarre. The movie doesn't look good to me.
I'll be honest with you. Like Vin Diesel, outside of voice acting, is Dominic Toretto. I mean, I think he's stuck
good
in.
as Groot.
He's stuck in that. That's what. Yeah. So it's voice acting. I mean, he did a great job in the Iron Giant.
Not Boiler Room. He was great in that.
He's always Riddick to me. Just because that's where
I think 9 out of 10
character I
people,
know.
if you say name a character he played, they're gonna say, "Oh, the dude from Fast and Furious."
Or Riddick.
I didn't watch
yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
That's why.
But Boiler Room.
William's a great man. I mean, don't get me
he's
wrong.
fantastic in that.
For me, it's
He
the
is
pacifier.
But I wasn't crazy about it. So let's go ahead and get into this last bit before we get into a question. The 9 trailer. Mm-hmm. Did you see it?
I watched it twice.
Would you like to see it before so we can have a
Is it?
not at all.
Okay, I'll watch it.
All right, hold on one second. So thoughts?
I can't fucking wait. I don't. I know you want trailers sooner, but I don't think it's a bad time.
No.
Personally, like I think this is close, and it got my interest up so high that like I can't wait for it. But like if it's 6 months, I can't wait for it. Like that's too far.
Right.
It's 59 days.
Yeah.
I looked yesterday, it was 60. So.
Because I would have lost interest by now. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. When does this come out? 6 months? Whatever. That's
Yeah.
how I would feel.
What are your thoughts?
I've probably broken myself a little bit because I look at the way they cut these trailers now and try to figure out, like the last trailer, I watched it probably a dozen times off the bat. And there's so many things that happen in these films where it's, they're in another plane, or like this is just me guessing. The scene where they're on, I guess they're on a Star Destroyer, Rey and Kylo. I don't think that happens in a real plane. I think that's some force.
Yeah, I do too.
thing.
Where they destroy that thing that's in front of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's some sort of force fight.
So, I mean, stuff like that. I do like that Rose is dressed like she would have been somebody that was working with Indiana Jones during.
Yeah, they all are though.
Yeah,
like
there's
Poe.
Yeah, let's put on suspenders. See, see what the Empire thinks about that.
Poe looks like the Uncharted guy. They all look like they're like on some like.
What,
Yeah.
Drake?
And like I mean, I don't know. The audio from the Emperor is obviously, almost to a fault chopped up in the sentence they want him to say. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I think the little Leia always thing is a bit much. It's like, really? Because, I mean, she's still alive in the movie, right?
Yeah.
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 I don't know. I just read that a little. I'm excited for it. I will tell you that trailer got me excited to see it, and I agree with you, Joe, because I like. Obviously, with Star Wars, you're not going to forget about it, but I think a lot of the time they drop a trailer so early on stuff. By the time it comes out, you're like, "What? Oh, I remember this. Well, I remember wanting to see it." So I'm happy with the timing of the trailer.
I want my hype to continuously go up into an event and not be like in a wave.
And they did a great job marketing wise because they dropped the tickets. Like, literally, it comes out and there's
First
the
time I've
tickets.
ever had to be in a waiting room to get a ticket.
I just went right through.
He was so excited.
Yeah, I went to the waiting room and it was a lightsaber that came up and it was
didn't
like
get that.
you are in a queue, like you have 2 minutes.
Did you go through
so-
Fandango?
Yeah.
I just went straight to the Regal website.
and like the blade was like was like the buffing of the
It's like buying sneakers.
yeah, it was
Except for when we actually got him.
Yeah, you actually got get the bots out.
So a couple things, like there's a battle droid in the back of one of them, like a decommissioned, like broken down battle droid. The Ghost is in the
Yeah, I saw that.
fleet.
Which is the ship from Rebels, if people don't know.
Correct. The 3PO moment is like that's an emotional beat right there for me.
It is. But who knows? You can dub whatever
do.
audio. Well,
Well, that's another thing. Everything in this trailer lines up with all of it.
okay.
As like a side note, like because like I'm always curious, right? Like I'm like you hear all these things and it's like, does this match up? And then you see the trailer and like, oh yeah, there's that. I actually had people hitting me up last night saying like that listen to the spoiler episode that we did. They were like, dude, it's all there. I'm like, yeah. But they did a number of reshoots, so like I can see them switching little key dialogue moments and everything else.
Just to keep it interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to switch the dialogue from a character that doesn't have a moving mouth.
Yep. But or even like if it's back of a character's head, you can put in whatever the fuck you want. And they cover that shit from 360. I feel like these days anyway, so they could do whatever they want dialogue wise. Music is great as usual. Always gives me. I'll tell you, I don't think this is far from my favorite Star Wars trailer. Like it didn't hit me in the same way that 7 or 8 or Rogue One did.
When's Rogue 2 coming out?
About mini Bothan spies.
The music
It's
on-
Rogue 2, mini Bothan spies, a Bothan spy movie.
The music on, because obviously I like everything anyway. But like the Star Wars films like then, because obviously we only heard it just over your Laura's shoulder watching it. It didn't really grab me much last night, but watching it then with that, it gives you like chills just listening with the music. That
The
loud.
music
It's
always
just-
does.
Yeah, but it's Star Wars is so good with it.
So, I mean, this is
It's
the end
always
of,
a question: is what if would Star Wars be Star Wars without that fucking?
Yeah,
soundtrack?
hell no.
Well, I mean,
Hell no.
this is kind of the end of an era because it's Anthony Daniels' last performance.
John
It's
Williams.
John Williams' last performance. It's Carrie Fisher's last performance.
It's Mark Hamill's.
Yeah. Maybe.
I would guess. Well, at least the last Star Wars performance.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I think like that. I love the little bit, the Ray bit, like the everybody thinks they know me, but no one knows, and then Kylo's like, but I do.
You might have seen me in the streets. She don't know me.
I like the way he done his saber.
Yes.
But it's also like if you just turn it off, you don't have to worry about hurting yourself. It's like, it looks cool, but
It seems like a very dangerous setup. I'm just,
It looks like there's going to be a huge space battle.
Yeah.
It's
cool. Yeah.
Like
There's a couple ships there.
Yeah, holy
real-
fuck!
a real
And I mean,
Star
like,
Wars.
and not just fighters. Like big ships. Because we haven't really got to see big ships fight it out. They always stay at like one end, and the fighters kind of fight it out in the middle.
Yeah.
So I would like to see some like a big ship fight, you know, all the Star Destroyers and everything, and the back of the Emperor's head. They still haven't shown him, which is interesting to me. You know,
Yeah, I mean, you know, probably more than I care to know at the moment, but it'd be interesting to see if it's actually him or if it's him. And I'm not even looking at Bobby when I say it, 'cause I don't want any eyebrow accusing,
Right.
or if it's he's possessed somebody or something like that. You know,
There's
I
like
don't know.
pipes and stuff in there you can see.
Yeah, I'm not real sure how that's going to play out, but I'm anxious to find out. I have kept myself this. I actually debated if I wanted to watch this or if I wanted to just go in
blind,
go in raw. Yeah,
I do have two questions I want to ask from a speculation, and it might lead to a third. Do you think Kylo is redeemed, or do you think in a separate one? And do you think he survives the film?
I think the nature of this platform, I think he will be redeemed. And after really thinking about it, I don't like that. I do not like that character.
You don't like Kylo?
I don't like Kylo. So if
interesting.
If he dies, then I'm fine with that.
He dies. He dies.
I'm just not. It's. I get the device that they've used with him to tell the story, but I don't know. The more I think about it, it's just like, oh, Kylo's in this. I just he doesn't do it for me.
Who does it for you in these
these movies?
Rose.
I don't mind Rose. I really don't. She has one of my favorite lines in it.
I don't know that anybody's just like, oh, I can't wait to see, you know, what this person does. Nobody really just sticks out to me as the reason I'm going to go see this. I do like the entourage, you know, the Rey, Finn, Poe, and it looks like we're really for the first time going to
they're going to get them together.
Get them together. I like the guy who plays Hux a lot. I've seen him in some other stuff, and I just enjoy him as an actor. And you know, he's basically become like a kind of a whipping boy now for Kylo, it seems. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing. You know, I don't know. I need some more character development.
So you don't think he will be redeemed, and you don't care if he lives or dies?
I think he will be redeemed.
Oh, you think he will be redeemed?
That's just kind of the nature of the storytelling. But I don't care if he lives or dies. I don't.
What about you, Cody? Or did you listen to the spoiler episode?
I did, but I forget.
Okay.
I listened to it, but I listened to it when I'm driving, so sometimes I'm not really paying attention. So I did hear what you said, but I can't remember any of it.
Gotcha.
It'll come back to you once the film starts. Right. So I can't remember. I feel like the obvious thing would be like he'll redeem himself dying. But
right.
Maybe saving.
But that seems almost too obvious. So
right.
I kind of want him to stay evil, but.
No, I'm in the same exact boat with Pinkerton. Like, I think he'll be redeemed. He'll probably die. I don't care because I don't like him.
Really?
Yeah.
So he for me, I think that he probably will be redeemed. I don't know if he's going to die or not. Like I don't. And I think that to walk into this trilogy at 7 and think that he wouldn't be redeemed would be silly. Like because Star Wars is like a circular thing.
Yeah,
like
sure.
you know they kind of
That
repeat
way.
the same tropes.
And I'll go as far as to say it might make me like him because I definitely have followed characters in long arcs that I don't like for years, and then something happened to the end of their arc that makes it like, wow, I misread them the whole time. They were fucking great. And
Well,
so
like,
I'm not
like Jar Jar.
like who?
Jar Jar.
Georgia?
Jar Jar.
Georgia. No, I just hate him even more.
The Kylo is without a doubt my favorite character in this trilogy, and he's borderline my favorite character in Star Wars. But like, I think
Is that because of his lineage, though?
Well, no. Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it's the way the lineage plays into his character. Like we talked about it a bit, Tyler, Andy, and I. But like the whole, you are the heir of this royalty, right? You're, and not just Vader, you know, on the dark side of things, but you know, the heroes of the Republic that were responsible for saving the fucking galaxy,
Right?
And that's kind of dumped into your lap, you know, this position that you hold, and then growing up, you have a father that fucks off, and you have a mother that is holding together the galaxy. So, like, you are stuck with nothing. You know, you're supposed to be the heir of greatness. Everyone that you encounter is probably telling you, like, oh my God, your parents, heroes, but you never fucking get to spend
The
20
uncle.
but you never get to spend 20 minutes with them. They finally don't know what the fuck to do with you, so they pawn you off on the fucking lunatic of an uncle. You had to go stay with him, the one person that you think can finally hone you and treat you like family. And then you wake up and find that person standing over your bed with a fucking lightsaber ignited. So now that's stripped away from you. The only connection that you have to anything is the one hope of any sort of your place in the universe is your dead grandfather, who is a fucking monster that can't disappoint you because he's gone. So he can kind of always be what he is to you. And like,
But doesn't he know how he ended though?
we don't know what he knows. You know,
you would think that's.
you would think, but he might not be. He might not like that aspect. You know what I mean? Like he might be like, that's the mistake my grandfather made. But he did great work.
Up until that point.
Yeah, like it may be one of those things.
Beautiful. The massacre of 78.
but this whole thing of like kind of picking up the pieces of the generation before you, or inheriting the sins of the generation before you, and dealing with all of that. Like that's what I find. And then all he wants to do is destroy it all. Like just start over. Like all of these things that have played a part in my life turning out to be shitty, I want to remove that so no one else's life is shitty. It's how I see it. Like the Force, the Jedi, the Empire, all of it. Let's get rid of it. Let's destroy it all.
I don't know what Scorsese has to say about Star Wars movies.
Well, see, so once again, I think that it's about volume. Like if you're releasing one Star Wars film a year, which we'll never see again, it looks like, but that's different than 4 or 5 films a year. I think that all of this Scorsese Coppola shit is about the volume. That every quarter is going to be dominated by 1 to 2 superhero films. And I can understand his frustration. I think that he's being unfair to them as well. He's not giving them enough credit because he feels away. But I get it. But yeah, the other question that I have regarding all of it is like, if he does die, that's the end of the Skywalker solo line.
It's the end of the saga anyway.
Right? How do you? I guess the question is, how does one feel about that?
Fine.
Yeah.
I think this picture is just going to put a nice little bow on a lot of things, and that lineage. I mean, unfortunately, it's come to a screeching halt.
It's like
unless we find out something else about somebody.
I like lineage, but I don't want like a dynasty. Like lineage is important and stuff, but like the one lineage shouldn't just fucking dominate the entire story of the entire galaxy forever.
Mm-hmm.
There was a galaxy before them, and there'll be a galaxy after them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if he lives, that'll be the last we see of him?
No, I don't think this is going to be the last we see of any of them. I think in probably 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get the band back together.
Like right now, it's the end. It's the end of the story. It's the end. You'll never hear about these group of characters. Or enjoy it. And then in 25 years, they're like episode 11, or whatever.
Or in 4 years, it's the Finn and Rose Comedy Hour.
yeah.
Live from
I think that was probably
Disney
less
Plus.
likely.
Or whatever.
Yeah, no. I got you. And then we have a question from Paul C, which was archived.
I didn't do it.
I don't think.
No,
I did.
I saw the. Did we have a question on Facebook too? I think.
Maybe
I'll check.
Oh, here we go. Speaking of being hungover, what are each of your hangover cures? I don't know if they'll help when you're at TFCon and you're away from your home base, but generally speaking, what are your typical go-to activities? Is there any food that you typically go for? Do you sit on the couch and watch a favorite movie while your body copes to allow participation for any non-drinkers? You can also give your go-to activities when you're sick. Joe never gets sick and he doesn't drink.
Yep.
So do you have anything to offer for this?
Nope.
Okay.
Get good at life.
What about you, Cody?
I can't remember the last time I was hungover.
Must be a British thing.
No, I just don't drink that much no more. I normally if I'm hungover, I like to just go out and get try and almost like walk it off, like fresh air. And I don't like sitting about. I'm saying when I'm ill though, like I won't, unless I'm really ill, I won't just sit in. I'll just go out. So I feel worse if I do that. So and drink. I always find like lemonade or something for some reason. I don't know why. Don't know why. I always want it. When I in the morning after, I don't know why. I think it's because my friend did it when we was younger. Like we were like 18 and we used to get it smashed all the time. And his thing was Sprite. He'd be like, "Get me a Sprite in the morning." So I used to get one. So like it's just like a thing in our head, I think. So I do that, and then just whatever. If I feel like I can eat, I'll just eat everything. Like well, chicken,
which is everything to you.
Something that's stupid like a McDonald's breakfast. So it's like really crap, but like that helps. And then once I feel full again, I'm fine after. Like by lunchtime, I'm good.
So I don't drink heavy a lot. When I do, most time if before bed, I'll drink 2 bottles of water, and then when I wake up, I drink 2 bottles of water, and I'm normally fine. I tend to, go to work. We do obviously meetings and whatnot with work, and I end up in, we end up drinking a lot at those kind of things. So I always prep myself. I drink 2 bottles of water. I try to drink water while I'm drinking, but 2 bottles of water before bed and then 2 bottles of water when I wake up, and it seems to work. I mean, I couldn't tell you last time I've been. Actually, probably right the morning after the Halloween party was pretty rough. But I got up and around. I got some coffee in me, drank some water, and got like an hour later, I was fine.
So what about if you're so drunk you don't remember to drink water before you go to bed?
I have more self-control than that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'd say I've had that happen.
I
wake up and I don't remember going to sleep. So
I mean, I haven't had that happen in probably 15 years.
Yeah.
So.
Real quick, it was shout out to Sugar Shane. He's the one that shared the picture of Wolverine versus Blade.
Nice.
So my go-to is water. And if I feel like I've gone too far at night, I'll start getting some water in me, and then wake up in the morning and drink more water. I also have to get moving. Like I can't sit around, because if I sit around, if I dwell on it, that's when I start getting into a bad place. But if I just get up and start moving, start working, then I usually can overcome it. But it's a miserable fucking experience, isn't it? Like, God bless.
And then you say never do it again, and
then you do it again. But yeah, that's my trick is usually water, Advil, and moving. And then there's that fine line for me of, am I feeling ill at this point, or am I hungry? I have that moment. Like, I'm like, am I close to throwing up?
What do you mean?
Or have I just not eaten in fucking 16 hours?
That's a confusing feeling. I get that sometimes.
There's only one way to find out.
Because it's like a slight nausea to it. Like, and like, logically, you don't want to eat when you're nauseous.
Yes. Yeah. That's I find myself in that bag every once in a while.
Joe's would just be loads of eggs and working out.
Yeah.
some
a dozen raw eggs and a shake like Rocky, and then go fucking run in my hoodie.
You own a hoodie?
I own a hoodie.
But that's
from high school.
That's really
a fact.
We did get a write-in from Sam M. Discussing classism and all that kind of stuff, but that's a little bit heavy for the point in the show. But Sam, I would like to talk to you. I would like to get on the phone and talk to you.
You'll actually see him this weekend.
Perfect.
There you go.
Sam, let's talk this weekend.
Record it.
Yeah. And then that's it. So anything, we were talking about having a little conversation upstairs just to close out the show about TFCon and all that kind of stuff. And
right. So, and I did want to mention, Roma Collectors Party, we'll have the Rock Box pickup. It'll be this coming Friday at 7 p.m. Should be 7 to 8. We'll do that, and then 8:30 we'll do the open party. So it'll be a good time. I am hosting the silliest event of all time. It's a Bring Your Ollie, your X-Trans Bots wheelie, your Ollie to TFCon. We're going to take a group picture. See how many of these ridiculous things we can see fall over at once.
Doesn't Robert D have like 3 all by himself?
Probably. He won them in a raffle.
Yeah, probably so. A spin to win event. Mm-hmm. I did want to remind about the trying to get some more entries in our logo contest, so to speak. I know Mr. Cody here has provided one, and I think we've gotten one other one so far. So thanks everybody that's contributed to that.
Yeah. I'll be at TFCon as well, and I'll be in the dealer room. I would look in the darkest back and most out of the way corner. That's usually where I get stuffed. at places. So
and my wife will be there selling her glassware as well. She's got some really cool designs.
Yeah,
designed even some custom art designed by certain people at the table here.
And I put together an infomercial
Cool
for it. It should be up Thursday.
Infomercials. I love your infomercials. They're so cool.
This one went off the rails a few times. But
well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing real quick. We mentioned upstairs, and so I ask you this. I ask Bobby, do you automatically sign a print when somebody buys a print?
Correct.
And your answer is?
My answer is no. My default is not to sign.
So I bought prints a couple times past, I don't know, month or so, and the guys just sign them automatically. So is that pretentious for them to assume I want a signature? And then, I said to Bobby, I'm like, what if I'm like, let's not do that?
So the reason why I don't do it is because to me it feels pretentious. Like to me, like let me grace you with my fucking.
Unless you already like printed signed. You know what I mean? Like
which I do. Which I do.
Yeah,
which I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's printed on there, I'm saying you whip out the pen and
yeah. So like, if anyone asks, it's my pleasure. I have the pens there, ready to rock and roll. I just don't want to like sign it. Like it's twofold. For one, Chris and I were talking like, to sign it, and the guy look at you like, I don't want.
Give me another one.
Yeah, can I have a different one? That one has your name all over it. Or on the other side,
you ruined it.
Yeah. Or on the other side of things, that somebody would think that I felt the need to sign it for, which I don't.
Yeah.
So it is an odd little tightrope. But I, at the same time, like I don't ever say, "Do you want me to sign it?" Because then I feel like people feel obligated to say yes.
Yeah.
Like,
to be nice. Yeah, exactly. So like I don't
my
say.
Novel?
I don't. Right. I don't say anything.
Hey, can I tell you about my book?
Yeah, no. I'm sorry.
Can I tell you about my book?
I feel so bad at these shows, but they're like, "Hey, can I tell you about my comic?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry."
There's people giving out free. You want a free? I just got to where I just started ignoring people, and I hate doing that. Yeah, it's the fourth time I walk by you. I still don't want one.
But like, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, and I don't. But at the same time, I've had people come back to my table like 3 or 4 hours later, like, "Hey, somebody had a print. They said that you sign them," and I was like, "Yeah, if you want me to." And then they'll be like, "Well, sure." Hold on, that's my dad's calling.
Oh, nice.
Hey. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, you're live on Nerd Rage Radio.
Really?
Yeah, you lucky dog.
Well, then I better not talk to you about anything personal.
Well, I get pretty personal on here, but yeah, you might want to save your personal stuff. My personal stuff is pretty much up for grabs.
Okay. Listen, would you give me a call at your convenience?
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
I like his laugh.
So that's going to stress me out. He never fucking calls me, so now I'm going to be stressed out until I talk to him. But
well, you talked about it before, where like he would make it sound something serious, and it's like, let's have breakfast.
Yeah. You just never know with him though, because sometimes he's like, "I have kidney cancer," and then sometimes he's like, "What's your favorite type of bagel?" But anyway, it's like it's just if I guess just don't be afraid to ask for what you want. You know what I mean? Like if you come up to my table or any table, if you're like, "Hey, can I get a bag for this? Hey, can I get a signature? Hey, can I, do you have any?" Like just ask what you want, because most times people can oblige or will oblige if they are able to.
And one piece of con advice: if you are plugged into what we do here, whether it's Nerd Rage or the Cool Table or the Realm or whatever, and you recognize it, don't be afraid to talk to anybody. I mean, we're all just dumbasses collecting toys too, so don't be intimidated. Just come up, say what's up, introduce yourself. If I know you online, I've never met you in person, please by all means. I put my face on TV every week.
Yeah, please come up.
Yep.
Say hello, introduce yourself, all that good stuff.
You can be out around and about doing something out in the open Saturday, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal. Just to be welcoming, like to not be tucked away. Because the rock party is like its own tradition now, and it's a good time. And they put it out on their venue and stuff, so you get people that listen to their show. But the idea also is to find new people and get them to listen and get them to hang out and meet them and all that kind of stuff. So it's like it's twofold. It's like good for the community. It's good for business. It's good for them. It's good for us. Like everybody wins. So,
You should have gave Slim T a card, whatever his name was.
Yeah. He said I can follow him in Baltimore. He's not coming to Reston. He made it.
Can we go get him? Can we bring him to the party?
Cody, I'm gonna put you in charge of that.
He made it very clear.
You can be on his logistics team.
He made it very clear. So yeah, that's where we'll be, and come by and say what's up. Shout out to the rest of the Cool Table Network, Shadowcast Uncut, Enter the Realm, Beer and Bolters 401k, Stasis Lock, Toy Detox, Building Up to It, Breaking the Mold, Fresh Communications, and Verbally Challenged, as well as the other folks that are part of Nerd Rage that kind of make things go behind the scene. Marilyn Phil with the notes and on Twitter. Raul on Instagram. We have Dante the Destroyer on Facebook. Manny works behind the scenes. Gort gives me help on Force Sensitive. And I'm just going to start shouting them out, but shout out to Andy for helping me out with all this fucking Star Wars stuff. The George Lucas Iger one, like, he compiled so much information for me to just sort of like just take the outline and add the fluff to, like he really is helpful. Like I send him like a message and be like, look, man, I want to talk about this. I want to address this, and this, and he'll come back with all the facts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's been
more work than I do. Shit.
Yeah, he's been a huge help. So I appreciate him as well.
And with that, Flappy Labius,
Bouncy Butts,
Tasty Taint,
Tight Dick Player. Dude, I love bouncy butts.